Chapter 1607. Su Fong didn't hesitate to teleport out with his sword orb. After a dozen teleportations, he finally reached a place not far from the immortal defense line's boundary. One more teleport, and he'd be able to pass through the boundary and into the immortal defense line. Urgent bell tolls rang out from the immortal Dao's camp. Countless immortal Dao cultivators appeared above the fortresses and fortresses behind the barrier. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Dao Master Han Su, along with a dozen Dao Masters and thousands of immortal primes, arrived in an instant. The demon army is on the move. That's the flagship of the demon commander, Demon Venerable Chi Ao. Even Demon Venerable Chi Ao is on the move. Are the demons preparing for the final battle? The immortal venerables discussed animatedly with a solemn expression. Su Fong, you killed the demon young lord. I'll strip your primordial spirit and burn it with demonic flames for eternity. I'll refine your body into a demon corpse puppet. Demon Venerable Chi Ao's voice was filled with rage and resentment. Su Fong? What did Su Fong do to attract Demon Venerable Chi Ao? Su Fong run. Dao Master Han Su and the others only just noticed Su Fong now. They were both shocked and stunned and immediately shouted a warning. Demon Venerable Chi Ao looked at Su Fong, his eyes suddenly bursting with demonic light. Oh no, it wasn't that Su Fong couldn't defend himself against the enraged attack of an advanced Dao realm demon. He'd even killed Dao Master Divine Cauldron before, so he naturally didn't fear a demon of the same level as Dao Master Divine Cauldron. However, Su Fong was currently facing so many demon clan experts. If he delayed for even a moment, he might be torn to pieces by the demon clan experts. Moreover, Su Fong knew full well that the true top demon experts hadn't shown themselves yet. On the surface, this demon expert was the one presiding over the battle, but in reality, there were still peak advanced Dao realm and even demigod existences lurking in the shadows. The giant demonic eye that killed Dao Master Yangming was proof of this. The same was true for the immortal Dao. They definitely weren't as simple as Dao Master Han Su. However, these people wouldn't make a move easily. Once they did, it would be the final battle between the two sides. Now that Su Fong had killed Demon Venerable Chi Ao, Su Fong wouldn't be able to defend himself if it drew the attention of the hidden experts. The only thing he could do was to escape into the immortal Dao's defense line. Fate's fate, controlling the heavens. If I'm destroyed, everything will be destroyed to sever fate. Without hesitation, Su's Ti, an invisible power of the heavenly Dao, suddenly erupted from Su Fong's body, creating a shockwave that wrapped around him. The power of the life, shrinking art had blinded Su Fong's fate, allowing fate to hide him. At this moment, countless pairs of eyes were focused on Su Fong. However, under everyone's gazes and the countless experts who had locked onto his aura, he simply disappeared into thin air. Demon Lord Chi Ao was taken aback. A look of disbelief appeared on his face as his furious attack lost its target. Whoosh! Su Fong took the chance to activate his sword pill. After teleporting, he arrived in front of the barrier. Then, he activated his identity token and released a protective divine aura. He passed through the formation and entered the barrier. Su Fong's figure was revealed. All of this happened in a flash. Everyone was shocked and surprised by Su Fong's divine ability. Just as Su Fong entered the barrier, Demon Venerable Chi Ao's eyes shot out a black shadow. It instantly passed through space and condensed into a giant claw. With a terrifying aura that could tear the sky apart, it ruthlessly clawed at the barrier behind Su Fong. Boom! The barrier's formation shattered layer by layer. The immortal mark collapsed. The Xian Guang flickered continuously before finally stabilizing again. The huge barrier protecting the immortal Dao camp wasn't that easy to break. However, a part of Demon Venerable Chi Ao's demonic cultivation technique's power strangely passed through the barrier and bombarded Su Fong's body. Puff! Su Fong felt as if he was hit by a heavy hammer. His body staggered and he spat out blood. His face instantly turned pale. There seemed to be only a step between the mid-level and the advanced level of the Tao realm, but the gap between them was like heaven and earth. Demon Venerable Chi Ao was a royal member of the demonic race. The demonic cultivation techniques and abhijna he used were all top-notch in the demonic world. Ordinary demon venerables couldn't compare to him. His strength was even stronger than Tao Master Han Su, an advanced-level immortal Tao cultivator. Demon Venerable Chi Ao's furious attack was no small matter. It shook Su Fang's internal organs. An evil aura seeped into his body and wantonly destroyed his flesh and meridians. If not for the black lotus blood threads that penetrated every corner of his body, Su Fang's perfect circle body might have been penetrated. Demon Venerable Chi Ao's attack also contained an evil divine aura that could destroy one's mind and Tao heart. It affected Su Fang's will and made him irritable. It was as if he had fallen into a nightmare state. Pure Yang divine aura, suppress. Su Fang let out a burst of pure Yang divine aura and quickly suppressed and refined the demonic aura that had seeped into his body. As for the evil divine aura that affected his Tao heart and mind, it also disappeared under the pure Yang divine aura. How strong was Su Fang's Tao heart to be able to withstand the effects of a nightmare blood transformation? In addition, his Tao heart had been baptized and tempered repeatedly during the battle of the Tao disciple and on the Destiny platform. Demon Venerable Chi Ao's evil divine aura couldn't affect his Tao heart. Using the heavenly secret life shrinking technique and this injury, Su Fang's life force was depleted a little. Su Fang, Tao Master Han Su's divine light changed instantly and teleported towards Su Fang. Tao Hung Tian, Feng Ling, and a few other higher-ups of the immortal Tao rushed over. I'm fine. Su Fang waved his hand and said, Fine? How can you be fine after Demon Venerable Chi Ao's attack? Tao Master Han, Su asked in a low voice. An advanced Tao realm cultivator from another faction snorted rudely. Su Fang, you know that you are the Taoist of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect, and that the immortal Tao is deliberately promoting you as a hero of destiny. Yet you still dare to enter the sky ravine to hunt demons. If you die, it will be a heavy blow to the immortal Tao's morale. You can't bear such a big responsibility. The other higher-ups of the immortal Tao were also very displeased that Su Fang had provoked Demon Venerable Chi Ao. Tao Hungtian asked, Su Fang, what did you do to make Demon Venerable Chi Ao come out? I just killed a few demons. Su Fang didn't explain anything and followed Tao Master Han Su into the air. You're unharmed after withstanding my supreme demonic art? Demon Venerable Chi Ao saw Su Fang from afar and couldn't help but be surprised and shocked. Su Fang smiled sheepishly and flashed to the back to sit down cross-legged. He secretly channeled the nether blood sea and dragon-subduing true body to quickly recover his vitality. He channeled the dragon-subduing true body and at the same time turned the insides of his body into a state of blood and water. He devoured the essence of the demons' bodies and took out peak supreme grade yin-yang immortal sky pills, divine essence pills, and some other spiritual items to quickly recover his vitality. The cultivators of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect weren't surprised when they sensed Su Fang's originally withered aura rising at an alarming rate, but the other immortal Tao cultivators were shocked. Demon Venerable Chi Ao's thunderous voice rolled over. Hand over Su Fang, or I will lead the army of demons to flatten the immortal Tao. Wherever we go, not even a blade of grass will be left. Tao Master Han Su mocked back. How did Su Fang offend Demon Venerable Chi Ao to make you so angry? Immortals and demons have always been at odds with each other. You came here to threaten the immortal Tao to hand over the Taoist of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect, the hero of the immortal Tao. Don't you think you're ridiculous? Chi Ao? The immortal Tao cultivators burst into laughter. Demon Venerable Chi Ao was speechless for a moment. Tao Master Han Su was about to continue mocking Chi Ao when he sensed something. He jerked his head up to the sky and the divine light in his eyes changed instantly. The top demon cultivator has appeared. Su Fong also sensed great danger approaching and prompted the Tao runes of the heavenly fate life contraction technique to flash rapidly in his mind. In the void above the boundary, space suddenly rippled as demonic light surged and churned. It quickly condensed into an enormous demonic eye that was 10,000 meters tall. An astonishing divine aura descended and covered heaven and earth, causing every immortal Tao cultivator to feel immense pressure. The demonic eye contained a profound and incomparably evil divine aura. Just a glance at it was enough to make the immortal Tao cultivators dizzy and lose themselves in the world of the demonic eye. The Lord of the demonic world, Tao Master Han Su, and the other immortal Tao cultivators were all stunned. Fear even appeared in their eyes. Su Fong raised his head and looked at the demonic eye with great astonishment. This is the Lord of the demonic world. Legend has it that he's equivalent to a peak Tao cultivator of the demon race, similar to demon venerable barbarian god. He's only condensed a demonic eye, yet it already possesses such terrifying divine aura. His strength is clearly not at the peak of the Tao realm. Whoosh! A dark demonic light suddenly flashed from the demonic eye vortex. It ignored the boundary's defenses, passed through layers of formations and immortal marks, and headed straight for Su Fong. It carried a supreme divine aura that could suppress all things and was about to kill Su Fong. The Lord of the demonic world is attacking a junior who hasn't even cultivated for 10,000 years. Isn't this a disgrace to the demonic world? A Xian Guang flashed out of the void and collided with the demonic light. The Xian Guang contained an unfathomable and mysterious aura. It wrapped around the demonic light, and after a moment of stalemate, the demonic light shattered and turned into nothingness. The one who released the Xian Guang to block the demonic light was clearly a peerless cultivator of the immortal Tao. He was at least a peak Tao cultivator of the peak Tao realm, or even more powerful than that. Tianji, how dare you violate the original agreement and meddle in my affairs? A gloomy and angry roar came from the demonic eye like rolling thunder. The firmament changed color in an instant. An ethereal voice came from the void. Since you personally killed Yang Ming, the immortal Tao and the demon race agreed that peak Tao cultivators would not interfere in the great war of the immortals and demons. However, this seat's only disciple almost died in the hands of her devil race. It was precisely this child, Su Fong, that saved his life by a fluke. You disregarded your own status and personally killed him. Naturally, I won't stand by and do nothing. Su Fong suddenly realized that the cultivator who saved him was not a peak Tao realm cultivator, but a supreme being who had 1 foot in the divine realm. He was Mu Xingfeng's master, immortal Father Tianji. There was a moment of silence. The demonic eye once again emitted a faint voice that did not seem to belong to this world. Tianji, if I don't do it myself, you won't have any excuse to interfere, right? Immortal Father Tianji's voice came from the void. That's right. That's good. The Lord of the demonic world said majestically. =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1608. A cold glint flashed from his demonic eye as he looked at holy man Han Su. The voice of the Lord of the demonic world sounded again. You are Han Su, the one who presided over the Great War? I am Han Su, Lord of the demonic world. What instructions do you have for me? Holy man Han Su cupped his fists. Hand over Su Fong. After the demonic race sweeps over the immortal Tao world, I will allow the Tianming Haotsong sect to retain an immortal domain and preserve a trace of vitality for the immortal Tao. Otherwise, when the demonic army flattens the immortal Tao world, the Tianming Haotsong sect will cease to exist in the greater world. Not only that, there will not be a single cultivator left in the immortal Tao world. The voice of the Lord of the demonic world was incomparably domineering, as if he was the absolute ruler of the greater world, controlling the life and death of all life in the greater world. As soon as his voice fell, the immortal Tao side fell into silence. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless gazes were focused on Su Fong's figure. Everyone was flabbergasted. What did Su Fong do to enrage the lord of the demonic world to such an extent? Holy man Han Su and the other heavyweights of the Tianming Haotsong sect were silent. Some people were actually tempted by the overbearing proposal of the lord of the demonic world. He soon secretly transmitted to holy man Han Su, "The great war has just begun, and the immortal Dao side has already suffered heavy losses." Even holy man Yang Ming, who was at the pinnacle of the Dao realm, was killed by the demons. The immortal Dao world will fall into the hands of the demons sooner or later. The lord of the demonic world suggestion is worth considering. If the sect master knows, he will certainly agree. Holy man Han Su shook his head and replied with his nascent spirit, "No. If we hand over Su Fong, how can the Tianming Haotsong sect continue to exist in the greater world? As long as I speak, the morale of the immortal Dao side will immediately crumble. The day of their destruction is not far away." Hizun was still unwilling to give up. If the Tianming Haotsong sect cuts off contact with the God world and loses its support, it will sooner or later be wiped out in the Great War like the Qingyun Celestial sect. As the Grand Elder of the sect, how can you not leave a way out for the sect? This is a matter of great importance. If you can't make the decision, why not report to the sect master and let him decide? Holy man Han Su hesitated. Su Fong's gaze swept past the faces of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect's powerhouses. His heart sank when he saw their expressions. He wasn't doing this for his own fate, but for the entire immortal Dao world. As the leader of the immortal Dao, the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect was still trying to compromise with the demon realm. How could the immortal Dao see any hope? Since you are still hesitating, I will simply light a fire for you and strengthen your determination. Su Fong smiled coldly and then flew forward. Looking at the demon eye in the sky, Su Fongda shouted, "Lord of the demon realm." An indifferent and lofty voice rang out from the demonic eye. "You ant, killing my beloved son will only lead to death. What else do you have to say now?" "What? Su Fong killed the son of the lord of the devil realm? No wonder the demon race would make such a big fuss. Even the lord of the demon realm has stepped in." Everyone couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Then they started to discuss. Su Fong sneered. "The great war of the immortal demons concerns the life and death of both the immortal Dao and the demon race. During the war, the demon race can kill the immortal Dao cultivators, but the immortal Dao cultivators can't kill you. Your son, young Lord Crimson Light, can treat the immortal Dao cultivators as prey and kill them for fun. But I, Su Fong, killed your son, and you want to threaten my sect? The logic of the demon race is truly tyrannical." Swish! Su Fong shot out Xian Guang from his palm and rolled out a corpse. It was young Lord Crimson Light. Su Fong said with disdain, "Your son, young Lord Crimson Light, was killed by me with my own hands. I exploded his head with one blow and killed him to my heart's content. What can you do? Ant, you are courting death." The Lord of the Demon Realm's voice became incomparably violent. A black shadow flashed out from the demon eye and turned into a huge palm print. It covered the sky and fell towards the immortal Dao camp. "Lord of the Demon Realm, you want to break the agreement?" Immortal Elder Tianji's ethereal voice rang out from the void again. Humph! There was a cold snort from the demon realm. Obviously, there was some fear. The palm print shattered and turned into devil light before disappearing into the void. Swish! 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 Another corpse was rolled out by the Xinguang. In front of Su Fong, the corpses piled up into a huge mountain. Among these corpses of the demon race cultivators and resurrected experts, there were demon venerables and other experts of the demon race. Some of them were still in good condition, while some of them were corroded and incomplete. The number of corpses was even more shocking. There were more than 200,000 corpses. There were so many corpses of the demon race. Moreover, they were all in a tragic state. The smell of blood filled the sky. In the immortal Dao camp, there was an uproar. It spread out in all directions like a tide. On the big ship in the sky ravine, demon venerable Chi Ao, and the higher-ups of the demon race, as well as the demon race cultivators behind them, all had a drastic change in expression. These cruel and evil demon race were witnessing their own clansmen being slaughtered like chickens. Apart from shock and anger, their deep eyes were filled with fear and dread. A gloomy voice sounded from the demon eye, like the wrath of the heavens. "Ant, you've angered this lord. Your end will be extremely miserable. So what if I've angered you? Lord of the demon world, don't think too highly of yourself. I took out the corpses of your son and your clansmen not to anger you, but to demonstrate to you and the demon race. I want to use these corpses to tell you, the lofty and self-righteous lord of the demon world, that you demons are not invincible. You can also die in no pain. I once swore that I would kill every demon I saw without mercy. How the demon race treated the immortal Tao cultivators and the common people, I, Su Fong, will repay them tenfold." The domineering and arrogant voice caused an uproar and gasp in the immortal Tao camp. On the big ship in the sky ravine, the demon race roared angrily, their fury enough to burn the heavens. Although the immortal Tao is currently at a disadvantage, the immortal Tao cultivators are still unyielding. Tao venerate Yang Ming fought the demon race to the death without hesitation. The immortal Tao cultivators will follow senior Yang Ming's example. Even if there is only one of us left, we will fight the demon race to the death. Now you're vainly trying to make the heavenly mandate how Tsong's sect yield with a few words and crumble the fighting spirit of the immortal Tao cultivators. As the lord of the demon world and a peak powerhouse of the greater world, isn't it laughable that you use such a clumsy trick? Lord of the demon world, put away your domineering and arrogant attitude. There are only immortal Tao cultivators who die in battle, not immortals who compromise and surrender. Even if all immortal Tao cultivators die in battle, we will tear off a bloody piece of flesh from the demon race. Su Fong spoke slowly, his voice powerful and resonant, revealing a lofty and domineering aura. An unyielding pride that looked down on the world spontaneously arose. Su Fong, a cultivator who had just ascended to the Tao realm, could be considered a true powerhouse in the greater world. In front of a powerful existence like the Lord of the Demon World, an early-stage Tao realm immortal venerable was nothing but a slightly bigger ant. However, Su Fong was not only fearless in the face of a Lord of the Demon World, but also challenged him and even slapped him in the face. Such courage and willpower shocked everyone. In an instant, Su Fong's not-so-tall figure suddenly became incomparably tall and majestic in the eyes of the immortal Tao cultivators, as if he was cast from iron and blood and could support the heavens and the earth. The fighting spirit of countless immortal Tao cultivators was ignited in an instant. Their morale rose to an unprecedented high, and they burst into earth-shattering shouts. Those heavenly mandate how Tsong's sect heavyweights who were shaken by the Lord of the Demon World's threat couldn't help but feel guilty. Izun snorted and said inwardly, "The more arrogant and unbridled you are, the faster you'll die." Immortal Elder Tian Ji's laughter came from the void. Good, good, good. Such a character can indeed be called a heavenly mandate hero of the immortal Tao. This old man can see the hope of the immortal Tao from you. Not bad at all. To think that there's such an extraordinary character in the immortal Tao world. This Lord's horizons have been broadened today. The Lord of the Demon World's gloomy voice sounded. His demonic eye quickly shrank and disappeared into the void. Demon Venerable Chi Ao's voice came from the sky ravine. The immortal Tao awaits its complete destruction. The huge Thunderbreaker warship turned around and sailed into the depths of the sky ravine, soon disappearing from sight. The heavyweights of the immortal Tao left in embarrassment. They knew that they would face the demon race's crazy revenge next. An even more tragic war was coming. Awesome, this is incomparably awesome. Dao Hengtian came to Su Fong's side. He, who was always calm and composed, was unusually excited at this moment. Su Fong shook his head with a wry smile. It's awesome, but I'm going to become a thorn in the side of the demon race. Dao Hongtian smiled. Are you afraid? A little. Dao Hongtian laughed. You're a destined hero, yet you're afraid? You killed the demon race's young lord, so many demon race experts, and scolded the lord of the demon world in public. How can we not drink and celebrate such a great thing? Come, let's drink. The two were about to leave. A weak voice sounded. If you two drink, can you count me in? It was Mu Xingfeng. He was heavily injured and his aura was weak. However, compared to when he was injured, he had recovered a lot. Clearly, he had swallowed a pill that could rapidly recover his life force and true qi. Mu Xingfeng's face was still arrogant, but his eyes were more sincere and respectful when he looked at Su Fang. Dao Hongtian said indifferently, We do have wine, but I'm afraid it won't be to your taste. Mu Xingfeng smiled awkwardly and said, To be able to drink with you too, even if it's just a cup of water, I'll drink it without hesitation. Su Fang called Feng Ling and Tuo Yu, and the few of them left together. In the demon race's camp, in an eerie hall surrounded by demon qi, the lord of the demon world has decreed that Su Fang's ranking on the demon race's assassination list will be raised to the first place. No matter what method is used, as long as you can kill Su Fang, not only will you become a lord of an immortal realm, but you will also be bestowed with the demon god's blood and become a supreme demon god. Crimson Ao, Devil Venerable's cold voice caused the devil race experts below to breathe rapidly. Their eyes flashed with ruthless and incomparably hardy devilish light. Even the lifeless eyes of the revived experts were filled with greed and yearning. Demon Venerable Chi Ao continued, Get ready. Gather all your strength and destroy the Immortal Path's defense line in one fell swoop. Trample the central immortal realm. Yes, the demon race experts and the resurrected experts all became excited. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1609. The immortal Dao side started to prepare for a new round of war with all their might. If they won this war, the immortal Dao would still have a glimmer of hope. If they failed, it would mean that the immortal Dao world was not far from destruction. Facing a war of life and death, the immortal Dao cultivator's performance was completely different from the previous wars. The originally low morale of the immortal Dao cultivators was ignited by Su Fang. Their bloodlust was stimulated. A spirit called Facing Death unflinchingly exploded from their bodies. Their fighting spirit was unprecedentedly high. At this moment, the most popular sentence among the immortal Dao cultivators was Su Fang's domineering and resolute words to the Lord of the Devil world. Even if I die, I will tear off a bloody piece of flesh from the Devil race. Even the heavenly fate Hao Tsang sect, as an immortal Dao sect, knew that this war was especially crucial. They mobilized all their resources. Not only did they mobilize all their experts, but they also took out their sect's most precious treasure. In addition, the various immortal Dao sects also took out their sect's most precious treasures as rewards to motivate the immortal Dao cultivators. True Dragon World. Su Fang took out young Master Qi Ming's storage ring. Let's see if there are any good things on young Master Qi Ming's body. Young Master Qi Ming's storage ring was quite extraordinary. It was actually a spatial treasure refined from a devil god's fingerbone. There was a powerful seal inside. Not only did it prevent the primordial spirit consciousness from entering, there was also a powerful evil intent that wanted to devour Su Fang's consciousness. Su Fang had no choice but to activate the treasure mirror and peel off a 9-yang true fire to break the seal. He also used the Heaven's secret life shrinking technique to incinerate the evil intent. Only then did his consciousness enter the storage ring. It was as if he had entered a devil domain. All kinds of treasures floated in the space and gathered to form an ocean. It was densely packed with all kinds of treasures. Jade stones, spirit stones, gems, spiritual objects, spirit veins, magic treasures, elixirs, secret manuals. Most of them were from the immortal Dao world. Only a small portion was from the devil world. These treasures were obviously plundered by young Master Qi Ming after he invaded the immortal Dao world. Compared to the inheritance of the Yellow Spring Great Emperor, there were more than 10 times more treasures. It was more than enough to establish a first-rate sect in the central immortal Tao world. Rich. I'm really rich. I didn't expect this crimson, light young master to be so rich. Su Fong couldn't stop laughing. His consciousness excitedly crossed the sea of treasures. In the depths of space, a blood-red imperial jade seal attracted the attention of Su Fong. The jade seal was crimson like blood, and its shape was that of the head of a demon god. The seals on it were not words, but mysterious demonic patterns. They were bright red like blood, and there were faint, eerie roars coming from inside, as if countless creatures were sealed inside. It gave Su Fong the feeling that this seal was like a ferocious beast. Despite the layers of seals, Su Fong could still feel a strong, murderous aura being released from it. His heart could not help but tremble. What magic tool is this? Su Fong was shocked and immediately released a thought to bring the original spirit of the purple cloud Dharma spirit into the storage ring. It seems to be big. Xian, can one you? With? Now the charm song hub, can you fall? Why way? What? Thumb? Xian? Lu Yin shrugged. Do dun jiao jian? Oh, Fuo versus fragrant seduction climbing the steep slope, plump and tanned. Ha, do. And pimples are both bad and bad. Omega Ming plus. We'll break too. Big. Xian. Chuan 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 jia type fan. Chuan foam. Xiaomi sodium division. What? Thumb? Xian. Excellent quality, excellent harmony, and excellent legendary great. Desolation of desolation. What? Pop. Naga. Hydra. Do, that empty chatter flutteringly forth. Xian shuang shuang reigns. I'm good at wrestling. By patting Lu Yang foam and Shisina. Wei. Naga. Calling Chu Chi Hui to play a game. She's so charming. Cooking Flood Dragon. Jumping on the wrong sedan chair. Are they here to punish the Buckeye? Lose the reins? Taba for Taba. There's such a thing? One incomparably evil demonic weapon. According to the old master, ever since the demon clan appeared in the great world, there has been a great world. Xian, was she trying to seduce him? Where is Bai and Lanin? Ao, H1. Xian, words that cause problems? Swastika? Clang, is the CI trying to hide the reins? Soul? C? Instant roundabout. Ao? Xian, Hydra? Was it possible that the Mei Wei was defeated? World diving badge? Promiscuous? What? What a coward. To think that controlling a demonic artifact requires luck. What a strange demonic artifact. When a cultivator's Dharma treasure was born, primordial violet chi would appear. Violet chi was also known as luck or omen chi. It was also a type of spiritual chi, and the appearance of violet chi represented luck. However, this demonic artifact is the complete opposite. Instead, it will bring misfortune to its owner. The universe is truly full of wonders. Master, this replica is at the peak of the king level, almost at the same level as the Xianming Thunder Archive and the sky-shrouding Nether Coffin. Its power must be extraordinary. Besides, with Az here, we can completely suppress its misfortune. Master, you can fuse with it and control it. The final battle between the immortals and the demons is imminent. If I can fuse it with a king-grade demonic artifact, I will have another magic treasure to defeat the demons. Su Fong was overjoyed. He had the Underworld Reincarnation Sword, the Xianming Thunder Archive, and the Origins Sacred Mirror, a supreme divine artifact. Naturally, he did not lack any other magic treasures. However, it was definitely a good thing to have an additional treasure of the demons. He stripped off a young immortal, and at the same time gave him a drop of essence blood and a wisp of yin-yang world true chi. With the help of the purple chi dharma spirit's primordial spirit, he could fuse with it. Pu V. Su Fong continued to check the treasures in the storage ring. What kind of treasure is this? In the depths of the space, Su Fong found more than a dozen black runes that emitted a sinister blood-red light and an ancient, mysterious, and extremely evil curse power. There was a powerful seal on the periphery. He did not know what was sealed inside and what use it had. Su Fong did not investigate anything. He continued to check the other treasures with his mind. Buzz, 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 there was a huge commotion in his original body's mind. Some Tao runes from the heavenly secret life, shrinking technique, appeared around his divine aperture. Could it be that there was an aura connected to him in these blood-red runes? Su Fong could not help but be astonished. He did not have any interaction with young Master Qi Ming before. How could there be something connected to his fate in his storage ring that caused such a huge commotion in the heavenly secret life shrinking technique? Su Fong immediately used the heavenly secret life shrinking technique to sense the aura of the blood-red runes. It was one of the blood-red runes that caused the heavenly secret life shrinking technique to react. Under the sensing of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique, even if the blood-red runes had a powerful sealing power, Su Fong could clearly sense the aura inside. Buzz, 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 an extremely dense, clear, and extremely familiar aura caused the Tao runes of fate to merge together mysteriously. It turned into an illusory figure. It was the immortal demon monster. Second primordial spirit. The second primordial spirit actually came to the demon realm and sealed the runes with his primordial spirit aura and blood qi. It even landed on young Master Qi Ming's body. Su Fong fell into a state of intense shock. On the way to the central immortal domain, he was attacked by Great Star Hall's immortal venerable Ji Xing. The spatial tunnel collapsed, and Su Fong was severely injured. His second primordial spirit was separated from him, and his whereabouts were unknown. Unexpectedly, he really didn't expect to find the runes with the aura and blood qi of the second primordial spirit in young Master Qi Ming's storage ring. I have to figure out what these blood-red runes are. Su Fong immediately withdrew his consciousness. After thinking for a while, he flew out of the True Dragon realm and headed straight for an immortal city in the central region of the immortal Tao camp. He had to figure out the use of these blood-red runes before he could investigate the whereabouts of his second primordial spirit. The Great Star Hall had set up a temporary branch in this immortal city. The Great Star Hall often interacted with the demon race and even secretly traded with them. The experts of the Great Star Hall should know the origin of these blood-red runes. It would be great if Luo was awake. Luo, who is almost omniscient, would definitely know the use of these blood-red runes. From there, he would be able to deduce the approximate whereabouts of his second primordial spirit. The expert of the Great Star Hall who was in charge of the temporary branch was someone Su Fong was familiar with, Great Elder Yun. Upon seeing Su Fong, Great Elder Yun was surprised and delighted. I was just about to pay Daozi a visit. I didn't expect Daozi to come personally. Daozi, you are now like the sun in the sky in the immortal Tao world. Your presence brings light to the Great Star Hall. What's the matter? Su Fong asked in surprise. The Great Star Hall was the #1 business in the immortal Tao world. They were well informed. They must have some secret information to ask Su Fong. Great Elder Yun said, "There's indeed a big matter. Daozi, let's talk about your matter first." Great Elder Yun, please take a look at what this is. Su Fong didn't stand on ceremony. He took out a blood-red rune from young Master Qi Ming's storage ring. This is the Rakshasa Celestial Demon Rune. Why would Daozi have a Rakshasa Celestial Demon Rune? Great Elder Yun's expression changed. The Rakshasa Celestial Demon Rune in Daozi's hand can only be owned by the royal family of the demon race. Moreover, they're the most powerful figures of the demon race. I understand now. Daozi, you killed young Master Qi Ming. Young Master Qi Ming was the most beloved son of the Demon Realm Master. It's not surprising that he has such a Rakshasa Celestial Demon Rune. Su Fong's heart shook. He asked, what is this Rakshasa Celestial Demon Rune? In order to cultivate a kind of demon race expert called the Demon God Battle Slave, the higher echelons of the demon race would select a few peerless geniuses from the lower echelons of the demon race and carefully cultivate them. The method of selecting the Demon God Battle Slave is very cruel. Usually, thousands of geniuses of the demon race would be placed in an extremely cruel environment where they would fight each other. In the end, only one would be selected. It's like raising a poisonous insect. The one who survives in the end would be cleansed by the demon god's blood and become a powerful demon god battle slave. The method to control the demon god battle slave, other than the seal of the primordial spirit and the physical body, there's also the Rakshasa celestial demon rune. The growth of the demon god battle slave is extremely shocking. The seal of the primordial spirit and the physical body could be broken as the strength of the demon god battle slave increases. However, with the Rakshasa celestial demon rune, it contains the demon race's forbidden technique to control the demon god battle slave. Even if the demon god battle slave is at the peak of the Tao realm, he would still be controlled. Great Elder Yin explained. =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1610. Su Fong made some conjectures and vaguely understood what happened. The space passage shattered, and the second primordial spirit was sucked into the foreign space along with the immortal devil monster's corporeal body to the devil world. The immortal devil monster was originally formed by the fusion of an immortal lord and a devil lord. The second primordial spirit could use the devil race's power at will and had also mastered the sky devil disintegration seal. It was naturally not a problem for it to disguise as a devil. It was unknown what the second primordial spirit went through. It was selected by young Master Crimson Bright to become a devil god battle slave. Its aura and blood were sealed in the Rakshasa godly devil talisman and finally landed in Su Fong's hands. Su Fong asked in confusion, why would young Master Crimson Bright have more than 10 Rakshasa godly devil talismans? Could it be that the devil race nurtured more than 10 devil god battle slaves? Great Elder Yin shook his head and said, devil god battle slaves are incomparably powerful. During the great war of immortals and devils in the ancient times, there were even powerful demigod battle slaves that were invincible. How terrifying was the price one had to pay to nurture a fiend god battle slave. The devil race cannot nurture so many battle slaves at once. At most, they can nurture one. Then what's with these Rakshasa godly devil talismans? Tens of thousands of peerless prodigies of the devil race killed and devoured each other. In the end, only one remained. More than 10 Rakshasa godly devil talismans mean that after going through many tests, there are only a dozen candidate devil god battle slaves left. They will continue to kill each other. Every time a seedling dies, not only will everything be devoured by the seedling that killed him, the Rakshasa godly devil talisman will also automatically fuse with it. In the end, it will become one piece and be used to control the devil god battle slaves. Great Elder Yun's words made Su Fong's heart sink. The Rakshasa godly devil talisman that sealed the second primordial spirit's aura was still there. This proved that the second primordial spirit was still safe and sound. However, who could guarantee that the second primordial spirit will be able to make the last lucky person into a devil god battle slave? After calming down and thinking carefully, Su Fong quickly felt relieved. Even Law was amazed by the powerful and peculiar body of the immortal demon monster. He believed that its future achievements would be limitless. Coupled with the powerful power of the second primordial spirit and the careful nurturing of the demon race, it was not impossible for it to win in one fell swoop and become a demon god war slave. Even if he was defeated, his second primordial spirit had Night Demon's powerful ability to control a cultivator's primordial spirit and consciousness. It shouldn't be difficult for him to break free from his primordial spirit shackles and escape. At worst, he could just abandon his immortal fiend monster body. Moreover, the Rakshasa god devil talisman that controlled the demon god battle slaves had fallen into Su Fong's hands. If his second primordial spirit was lucky enough to become a demon god battle slave, he wouldn't be afraid of the demon race's control. It seems like the Lord of the Devil World really values young Master Crimson Bright. He even gave him the Rakshasa fiend god talisman that controls the fiend god battle slaves. No wonder the Lord of the Devil World was so furious when I killed young Master Crimson Bright. Humph! Now that the Rakshasa god devil talisman has fallen into my hands, even if the demon race nurtures a demon god battle slave, I will think of a way to control it and make the demon race's efforts go to waste. It would be more interesting if my second, primordial spirit became a demon god battle slave. If the Lord of the Devil world knew that the demon race spent a lot of resources to nurture a demon god battle slave was actually a gift for me, he would definitely vomit blood from anger. Su Fong secretly snorted and put away the Rakshasa god-devil talisman. His heart instantly calmed down, and his worry about his second primordial spirit disappeared. Su Fong had already decided that when the time came, he had to make a trip to the demon world to find his second primordial spirit. The members of the Luo clan, who were searching for the blood jade in the Great World, were also in the demon world at this moment. There was still no news from Immortal Exalt Xianlin. This was something that Su Fong had to be wary of. Su Fong continued to ask, "Great Elder Yun, you said that you have something to talk to me about? Please speak." Great Elder Yun said, "Daozi, do you know the assassination list of the demon race?" Su Fong smiled disdainfully. "I know a little. Why? Could it be that I'm on the assassination list of the demon race?" Before the great immortal demon war broke out, the demon race had already begun to let the spies lurking in the immortal Dao world secretly eliminate the peerless geniuses and some important figures of the immortal Dao world. Su Fong had killed young Master Crimson Light and many other demon race powerhouses and cultivators this time, so it wasn't strange for him to be listed as an assassination target by the demon race. Great Elder Yin said, "Daozi, don't let your guard down. According to the news obtained by the Great Star Hall, not only have you been listed as an assassination target by the demon race, but your ranking on the assassination list has also been listed as number 1. Number 1? Su Fong raised his brows. Then he sneered. It seems that the demon race really thinks highly of me. Not only that, the spies of the demon race lurking in the immortal Dao world have also set up a sky-high mission in the Great Star Hall. Kill Daozi, and you will receive rewards that even high-level Dao realm powerhouses would be tempted. The Great Star Hall has already issued the mission." Great Elder Yun said awkwardly, "Well, the demon race's offer is very generous. Moreover, they didn't appear in the name of the demon race. Therefore, the Great Star Hall had no choice but to accept it. The Great Star Hall is really good at doing business." Su Fong sneered. His eyes flashed with a cold and sharp luster. Great Elder Yun felt a wave of killing intent rushing towards him. A layer of cold sweat appeared on his back, as if he was facing a terrifying god of death. He said in a trembling voice, "Daozi, please calm down. The Great Star Hall will cancel the mission immediately." "There's no need for that. Just let me know in advance who will accept the mission," Su Fong said indifferently. Great Elder Yun felt the suffocating qi disappear without a trace. He couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. The back of his Taoist robe was already soaked with sweat. He felt that facing Su Fong now was even more terrifying than facing a peerless, immortal venerable who was at the higher levels of the Dao realm. Tell the higher-ups of the Great Star Hall that they'd better cut off their secret dealings with the demon race as soon as possible. If I find out that the Great Star Hall has betrayed the immortal Dao for wealth, the Great Star Hall will be removed from the immortal Dao world," Su Fong said domineeringly. The influence of the Great Star Hall was spread all over the immortal Dao world. With Su Fong's current strength, it was obviously far from enough to remove the Great Star Hall from the immortal Dao world. However, with Su Fong's current reputation and great influence in the immortal Dao world, it would be a piece of cake for him to turn the Great Star Hall into a rat on the street. After leaving the Great Star Hall, Su Fong returned to his palace and entered the true dragon world. Su Fong arranged for his subordinates to clean up all the corpses of the demon race cultivators and collected a terrifying amount of resources. There were Dao artifacts, elixirs, spiritual items, immortal stones, origin stones, gemstones, and other materials. They were all plundered by the demon race when they invaded the immortal Dao world. Now, they were all used by Su Fong. In addition, there were so many resources from the body of young Master Crimson Bright. Not only his subordinates in the True Dragon world, but the entire Square Heaven Great World could use these resources to increase their overall strength by a large margin. There were also countless demonic artifacts, demonic arts, and resources for the demon race's cultivation. Among them, there were nearly 10 million immortal Tao cultivators who had been abducted by the demon race and used as cultivation tools or breeding tools. They were shackled in demonic artifacts by the demon race. Most of them had been subjected to various demonic arts and were beyond saving. Less than a fifth of them had a chance of being saved. Su Fong settled the surviving cultivators in the true dragon world and gave them elixirs to help them recover. Not only did these immortal Tao cultivators escape the fate of being devoured by the demon race, but they also became residents of the true dragon world. After organizing all the resources, Sister Bai Zhu Huang, Su Fong called Bai Ling, Zhu Huang, Tong Tian Demon Venerable, and other powerful big goblin, as well as immortal Peng Hua, the 5 freaks of the ghost Dao, and other experts. Bai Ling asked with a smile, "Brother, what's the matter?" Swish, swish, swish. Su Fong shot out a Xian Guang from his palm and swept out hundreds of storage rings. These hundreds of storage rings were filled with all kinds of resources. Even if all the resources of the forces in the central immortal domain were added together, they would only have so much. However, those forces would definitely not be able to take out so many resources at once to maintain the operations of their sections. Zhu Huang laughed and said, "Could it be that Master is planning to share the benefits with us?" Bai Ling glared at Zhu Huang and said, "Brother, have we not given you enough benefits? Be careful that you don't eat too much, you fat pig." Many big goblin and experts roared with laughter. Su Fong said, "I'm planning to let you take these resources and 100,000 subordinates back to the Square Heaven Great World." After the destruction of the demon race, the Square Heaven Great World and the other immortal domains had suffered great losses. With these resources, they would be able to quickly recover. In addition, the world had changed again. Su Fong was very worried about the Square Heaven Great World. Let Bai Ling and the other big goblin and experts return, with them guarding the Square Heaven Great World. As long as it was not a high-level Tao realm expert who attacked, the safety of the Square Heaven Great World would not be a problem in the short term. After all, the demon race was restrained by the demonic blood Oath Pearl and would not enter that immortal domain. The top experts among the resurrected experts would not easily go to that desolate immortal domain. It's time to send people back to take a look. Brother's father, clansmen, and so many friends from small worlds are in the Square Heaven Great World. Bai Ling nodded and said, "Let Zhu Huang and the others return. I'd better stay by Brother's side. If they all leave, Brother will be pitiful to be alone." Su Fong laughed involuntarily. In the end, it was decided that Bai Ling would stay. Su Fong also needed help, and Yu Miaomei also needed her to look after her. The other big goblin and experts followed Su Fong's arrangements. They took the resources and the 100,000 subordinates in the Yellow Spring Great Emperor's bottle and left the immortal demon battlefield. They went through the space array of the Great Star Hall and headed straight for the Square Heaven Great World. Without any worries, Su Fong began to prepare for the upcoming war with all his might. 3 months passed quickly as he continuously swallowed all kinds of pills, resources, and spiritual items. Both the immortal and demon sides were unusually quiet. There was not even a single immortal Tao cultivator or demon who entered the Sky Ravine. However, everyone knew that a war of life and death was brewing beneath this calm. Whoosh, in the true dragon realm, inside the array of the Tao field where Su Fong cultivated, the yellow spring blood sea-roiled violently and condensed into a normal-looking Su Fong. Frowning, Su Fong muttered to himself, "Strange, the speed of cultivation suddenly slowed down a lot." =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1611. As of late, Su Fong had noticed that the life force quintessence of devilish experts, medicinal pills, spirit items, and other resources had all slowed down significantly. Furthermore, his cultivation of the Yang Meridian and the World Tree had been progressing at a much slower pace than before. Even the fleshly body of a mid-level devil venerable was only half as effective in increasing his life force. After pondering for a long time, Su Fong found a reason. "My cultivation is based on devouring. As time goes on, the more quintessence I devour, the more resistance I have. Now that my cultivation base has stabilized at the early stages of the Tao realm, the quintessence of nature and life force are of little use to me. Moreover, the great world's energy has little effect on the growth of the world tree. After all, the power of my yin-yang world is God-level power. The other reason is that my cultivation speed is too fast. However, I lack the accumulation and comprehension of a long period of time. This is also the reason why my cultivation speed has slowed down. In order to solve this problem, he could only continue to cultivate, comprehend, and then find more advanced spiritual items and kill more powerful demon experts. Whoosh, whoosh. From a yellow spring sea of blood, the 8 blood clones were formed. They sat cross-legged in the formation beside the remaining blood clones and began to cultivate various cultivation techniques. Su Fong had been persistently cultivating the heavenly secret life shrinking technique, 9 yang 9 transformations, ethereal quintessence, for season's reincarnation seal, illusory fire cloud, yellow spring blood sea, and other cultivation techniques and abilities. In addition, the great Emperor Tianbao's great path of craftsmanship was of great help to Su Fong's cultivation. In addition, repairing the true dragon realm required continuous comprehension of the great path of craftsmanship. Therefore, Su Fong had never stopped cultivating and comprehending. Ever since he was able to create more blood and water clones, he had also begun to cultivate the devil race's mental cultivation method, the Book of Heavenly Demon, the dragon race's cultivation method, and the blood hell wolf smoke. However, the power of these cultivation methods and divine arts of the great world were far inferior to the other cultivation methods and divine arts of Su Fong. Big, Xian, trampling on Mao Wei's happiness and forgiveness. Su Fong's mind moved. Big, the squid is singing and the cormorant is singing with the help of the purple cloud Dharma spirit's primordial spirit. He could control and suppress it. Xian, rolling dumplings, pointing fingers at danger. Magpie wood, promiscuous. Soul, magpie back Ming Zheng Xian, creating a misunderstanding. Why merchants? Pop, Tan Ruo, bang 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 neon run lie. Ostrich, profoundness and honesty, but it had to be big. Xian, humble chess. Where? Beep, beep, bell. The Gong Emperor secretly knocked on Sawan's door. Pujia, dismemberment, asked me about running through love great sensitivity. Xian, the man's mouth and Jean. 3. Date, Australia, playing chess. How can a magpie not thirst for water? Rolling over to cause diarrhea, changing a broken bone. Oh, soul, lie to cover up the truth. Jiao Jiao, but it's only a big one. Xian, summoner. Yi Zhong, death by dismemberment. Zhao Yu Jun Wu, Yi. Tao Wu quietly knocked on the wood in the air. Hazel, robbing the reef and knocking on the void. Xiani, Chi Chi Chi. Crocodile toad, this one is big. Xian is an element of calamity. Wheel-breaking punishment. Tao Lan Jun, Kong knocking on the wood. Tao Wu Tu Tiao Yuanji. Yu Chi, thumb. Xian, Tao Wu Tu said wood. Tao Wu Tu Patagu Jiao. Shan, gu. Huaiwong, gu. Frozen buck thumb. Tao Wu Tu Yin. Material pressure, gu gu wu tu mo li wu tu huang zheng. Hu si I bei ji hui. Wen guang. Rolling master zhong ji. Locust wei. Gu gu wu tu. Jiu hui xia. Gu jiao. Xian. I still haven't received the rewards from the war achievement list. I wonder what kind of treasures the immortal Dao sect took out. This time, Su Fong had killed young Master Crimson Light in one fell swoop, as well as hundreds of thousands of demon experts and cultivators. The battle achievements he had obtained would definitely allow his ranking on the war achievement list to increase by leaps and bounds. Naturally, the rewards he would receive would also be extremely generous. Su Fong didn't really care about ordinary treasures and resources. However, this time, the immortal Dao sect took out a lot of treasures that even high-level Dao realm peerless experts were envious. Naturally, Su Fong was also filled with anticipation. Whoosh, Su Fong's original body flew out of the blood sea and was about to leave the true dragon world. Boom! Suddenly, There was a huge commotion from the edge of the true dragon world. A wave of death aura exploded and covered the entire true dragon world. It was as if the god of death had descended into the true dragon world. The big goblin and cultivators under Su Fong, as well as the cultivators who had just moved into the true dragon world after being rescued by Su Fong from the demon race's demonic weapon space, were all terrified. The undead king has broken through? This terrifying wave of death aura didn't come from anyone else but the undead king. Su Fong judged from the aura that he had reached the high-level Dao realm. The undead king was the best friend of the Yellow Spring Emperor back then. His cultivation had reached the peak of the high-level Dao realm. With the help of the heaven and earth metamorphosis and the sky-shrouding nether coffin, the undead king's strength fell to the saint immortal realm after he was resurrected. After being suppressed and subdued by Su Fong continuously provided the undead king with life essence, allowing his strength to recover rapidly. After the fifth evil sun rose into the sky, he quickly recovered to the mid-level Dao realm. However, Su Fong was in the Tianming Hao Tsang sect and couldn't let him out. He didn't expect that in such a short period of time, he would make another huge improvement and reach the high-level Dao realm. The undead king was different from other resurrected cultivators. With the help of the sky-shrouding nether coffin, he didn't lose his consciousness, and his cultivation realm on the Death Dao was still there. He only needed to continuously devour life aura to recover. There were no bottlenecks, and he didn't need to go through any tribulations. Naturally, his recovery speed was unbelievably fast. This time, Su Fong killed many demon race experts and gave a portion of their life essence to the undead king. It was natural for him to reach the high-level Dao realm. Su Fong was overjoyed. Good things happened one after another. First, he obtained a peerless demonic weapon. Then, he found out the whereabouts of the second primordial spirit. Now, the undead king reached the high-level Dao realm. The undead king was originally a peak expert. As a high-level Dao realm expert, his strength was extraordinary. With the help of the sky-shrouding nether coffin, he was almost invincible among the high-level Dao realm experts. How could Su Fong not be surprised and happy to have such a peerless expert under his command? Undead king, retract your divine power. Su Fong's majestic voice was transmitted with the help of the True Long World's magic treasure. The True Long World was Su Fong's nest. If it was destroyed by the undead king's divine power, it would be a huge mistake. The undead king quickly retracted his divine power and came to Su Fong's training ground. After asking the undead king a few questions, Su Fong gave him the energy ball condensed from refining the demon corpse to stabilize his high-level Dao realm state. Then he left the True Long World. He came to the square for exchanging battle merits. The battle merits ranking was still hanging there. However, due to the impending war, the ranking on the battle merits ranking had not changed for some time. The cultivators exchanging battle merits were all bored. Exchanging battle merits. Su Fong came to the table and said aloud, "Taoist Su Fong." The immortal venerable expert in charge recognized Su Fong at a glance. He was surprised and happy and hurried forward to greet him with cupped fists. Su Fong is here to exchange battle merits. Su Fong, it's really Su Fong. Some of the cultivators around the square saw Su Fong and immediately flew over as if they had found a rare treasure. They surrounded Su Fong with eyes full of fanaticism and worship. It was as if taking a look at Su Fong was a great opportunity. The news that Su Fong was here to exchange battle merits spread quickly. In just a few breaths, thousands of cultivators rushed over from all directions. The deserted square suddenly became lively. Su Fong smiled helplessly. This was probably the trouble of becoming famous. In order to exchange battle merits, Su Fong had been keeping the heads of young Master Crimson Light and Demon Venerables. When he was about to take them out, the immortal venerable expert in charge of exchanging battle merits hurriedly waved his hand. Taoist can keep the heads of those demon race experts. There's no need to take them out for review. Su Fong was surprised. There's no need to review? Then how do we calculate battle merits? The immortal venerable expert said in a tone full of admiration. Taoist has killed the demon race's young master, demon race experts, and hundreds of thousands of cultivators. This is obvious to all. Moreover, from news from the spies hidden in the demon race's camp, we already know the exact number of demon race experts that Taoist has killed. There's no need to review anything at all. We're just waiting for Taoist to come and exchange battle merits. So it's like this. Taoist, please wait a moment. The immortal venerable expert took out a rune talisman. A ray of light shot out from it and landed on the battle merits board. The Xian Guang on the battle merits board flickered violently. When it stabilized again, Su Fang's name appeared in the top 10. He was ranked 9th. Whoa! Shocked exclamations erupted in the square. Many gazes of admiration, shock, and incomparable fanaticism landed on Su Fang. Such a high ranking. Some high-level Tao realm experts can't even compare. Taoist is only at the initial stage of the Tao realm. He actually has more battle merits than those high-level experts. This is simply unbelievable. Taoist Su Fang is the destined hero of the immortal Tao. This time, he killed the demon race's young master. Even so, he's only ranked 9th. His battle merits are still a bit low. In a palace deep in the immortal Tao camp, Mu Xingfeng stared at the image condensed with his mind. It displayed the battle merits board's ranking. There was an old man in the palace. His entire body emitted an aura of twilight. He was like an old man with one foot in the grave and could pass away at any time. However, the old man's eyes were as deep as the starry sky and the universe. They seemed to contain the endless mysteries of nature. Occasionally, there would be a flash of light. His eyes seemed to be able to see through heaven's secrets. This person was obviously not an ordinary old man. Immortal Elder Tianji. He was at the peak of the high-level Tao realm. A peerless half-step true god. Mu Xingfeng's master, Immortal Elder Tianji. Why? Are you still unconvinced by Su Fang? Immortal Elder Tianji waved his skinny hand. The image scroll disappeared into nothingness. He smiled and asked Mu Xingfeng. Mu Xingfeng said, "Although I'm not as good as Su Fang now, I will definitely surpass him in the future and become a number 1 person in the great world." Immortal Elder Tianji sighed and said, "It's better to give up on this thought. This person cannot be surpassed." Equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 16:12. Bodhi Tiandu incense insurmountable? Didn't Master say that there is nothing insurmountable in this world? I have to admit that the gap between me and Su Fang is huge. However, how can I, Mu Xingfeng, be willing to be inferior to others? Sooner or later, I will surpass Su Fang. Mu Xingfeng raised his eyebrows. His eyes were filled with pride. I have once divined your fate. You are definitely not a fish in a pond. Sooner or later, you will surpass me. However, when the calamity of destruction comes, no one's fate can resist the calamity. It will be difficult for you to grow to that day. Even I am unable to pry into Su Fang's fate. I can only see that there is a supreme fortune on his body. The heavenly Tao is unable to suppress him, and the calamity is unable to destroy him. Such a person, if you want to surpass him, you will only be looking for trouble. The heavenly fate immortal's words shocked the Starherder Peak. Immortal Elder Tianji cultivated the great Tao of heavenly secrets. He was able to see through the mysteries of the heavens and predict the fates of others. There had never been an exception. Now, Immortal Elder Tianji actually said that he was unable to see through Su Fang's fate. How could Mu Xingfeng not be shocked? I have spent my fate to see through the mysteries of the heavens. After repeated divinations, the final fate of the immortal Tao world is only destruction. However, I could see a huge variable from Su Fang. Perhaps the only hope of the immortal Tao lies in him. Xingfeng, I don't have much time left. I will not be able to protect you in the future. Su Fang saved your life. Your fate has intersected with his. Becoming friends with him will allow you to be influenced by his supreme fortune. This is a great opportunity for you. You must not miss it. Immortal Elder Tianji said slowly. Mu Xingfeng sank into deep thought. While everyone was discussing, the immortal venerable cultivator in charge of exchanging battle merits brought Su Fong out of the square. They passed through the formation and entered a mobile abode hidden in the void. Taoist, please do as you wish. I will not accompany you. The immortal venerable cupped his fist and said. Then he left in embarrassment. Su Fong walked into the mobile abode alone. It's been a while since anyone has come to claim the rewards. It's actually Taoist. The guardian of the abode was a Tao realm advanced stage cultivator. He had a fiery red head and crimson red skin. His powers were comparable to holy man Han Su, and he was only a step away from the advanced stage. This person was also a grand elder of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. He had met Su Fong several times before, so he naturally recognized Su Fong. Seeing Su Fong come in, Tao Master Hong, who was meditating with her eyes closed, quickly stood up. She was very polite, as if she was facing an expert of the same level. A Taoist disciple is here to collect the battle merit reward. Let me see Daozi's battle achievements. Tao Master Hong took out a rune talisman. After activating it, a spiritual light shot out from it and condensed into the virtual image of the War Merit list. Ranked 9th on the War Merit list. TSK. Taoist is truly extraordinary. Taoist disciple has never received a reward before. Ranked 9th on the War Merit list, you can receive top treasures. Tao Master Hong praised with a look of envy in her eyes. Then, Tao Master Hong flipped her right palm and took out a jade slip. The list of all the treasures that can be exchanged with the War Merit list is in here. Taoist disciple, choose carefully. Su Fong injected a stream of mana into the jade slip. Rays of spiritual light shot out from it and condensed into a dense virtual image of treasures. There were Tao artifacts, spiritual treasures, elixirs, immortal stones, various spiritual items, spirit veins, and other resources. There were so many that Su Fong couldn't count them all. Moreover, a small portion of the rewards were of a higher level than the prizes in the Battle of the Taoists. So many treasures, Su Fong was dazzled. He couldn't help but swallow his saliva, and a hearty look flashed in the depths of his eyes. As for the ordinary treasures and resources, Su Fong only skimmed through them. His attention was mainly on the rare treasures that were useful to his cultivation. Bodhitini incense? A virtual image of spiritual light attracted Su Fong's attention. It was a 3-inch-long incense stick. It was pale white and had traces of mysterious patterns on it, as if it was naturally formed. This incense stick was very strange. It was just a virtual image, but Su Fong vaguely had a magical feeling of understanding the great Tao after looking at the patterns on it. Seeing that Su Fong had noticed the Bodhi Tindi incense, Tao Master Hong introduced it. This Bodhi Tindi incense is not an ordinary item. It's a peerless treasure in the heavens and realms. A treasure in the God realm. Su Fong's eyes lit up. In the heavens and realms, there's a kind of Bodhi tree of enlightenment that grows close to the origin of the world. Cultivating under this kind of divine tree can suddenly enlighten and break through the path of thorough enlightenment. It has an unexpected benefit for comprehending the great Tao and is known as the divine tree of enlightenment. The Bodhi Tindi incense is refined from the resin of the divine tree of enlightenment. After it is lit, it disperses a strange fragrance that is inhaled by the cultivator's divine aperture. It can allow the cultivator to enter a higher realm in a short period of time. The Bodhi Tindi incense is a supreme treasure for Tao realm cultivators to break through the shackles of cultivation. It is of great help to high-level Tao realm experts to break through to the peak. Even I want to get one for cultivation. Unfortunately, I don't have enough battle merits to exchange for it. Tao Master Hong's introduction made the luster in Su Fong's eyes become even more vigorous. After entering the Tao realm, the accumulation of energy had become secondary. Comprehension of the realm was more important. Su Fong cultivated the supreme heavenly Tao. Because his physical body had reached the consummation level and the various real bodies built on the foundation of the consummation level, his path of cultivation had become unique. Even the mysterious woman found it difficult to continue to guide him. He could only continue to fumble around on his own, as if he was walking on a dark path. With a treasure like the Bodhi Tiandi incense, it was tantamount to lighting up a beacon on the path of cultivation. It was easy to imagine how useful it would be to Su Fang's cultivation world. Taoist, you have just entered the Tao. It is a little too early to use the Bodhi Tiandi incense now. It is a waste of a treasure from a god realm. However, Taoist, you will definitely break through to the peak of high-level Tao realm in the future. When that time comes, you will definitely need the Bodhi Tiandi incense. Tao Master Hong saw that Su Fang was tempted and said with a smile. His words were very polite, but in reality, he did not recommend that Su Fang choose the Bodhi Tiandi incense. In his opinion, Su Fang was a cultivator who had just entered the Tao realm. Even if his cultivation speed was heaven-defying, it would still take him millions of years or even longer to reach the peak of high-level Tao realm. Choosing the Bodhi Tiandi incense at this time was obviously a waste of heaven's gift. Su Fang asked, "Is my battle merits enough to exchange for the Bodhi Tiandi incense?" Tao Master Hong said, "With your battle merits, Taoist, it is barely enough to exchange for the Bodhi Tiandi incense. However, Taoist, you should consider it carefully. This kind of opportunity does not come by at all times. Choosing the Bodhi Tiandi incense is a waste of opportunity. The war is just around the corner. I have no chance to accumulate battle merits and exchange them for other treasures. I choose the Bodhi Tiandi incense," Su Fang said decisively. Just as he finished speaking, an urgent voice came from outside the cave. "Old thing, hurry up and take out the Bodhi Tiandi incense. This seat will exchange it right away." Then, a figure appeared at the entrance. It was Mo Wutian's master, Hizun. Hizun's expression changed when he saw Su Fang. "It's you?" Hizun's expression darkened. He no longer paid attention to Su Fang and said to Tao Master Hong, "This seat has offered up almost all of my possessions and borrowed from friends. I finally gathered enough battle merits to take out the Bodhi Tiandi incense. In addition to killing demon experts, there was another way to accumulate battle merits. That was to contribute treasures and resources to the immortal Tao forces in exchange for battle merits. However, this method of exchanging battle merits was not only disadvantageous, but also ridiculed by others. Most people would not choose this method." Su Fang said faintly, "Sir Tao Master, I'm very sorry, but the Bodhi Tiandi incense has been reserved by me." Hizun was startled. A layer of haze suddenly appeared on his face. He coldly shouted, "Su Fang, are you deliberately making things difficult for the seat? This seat is determined to get the Bodhi Tiandi incense. It was not easy for me to gather enough battle merits, but you interfered. Do you think this seat is easy to bully?" Of course, Tao Master Hong knew about the grievances between the two. She hurriedly explained, "Hien, Taoist has already chosen the Bodhi Tiandi incense before you came. He is not deliberately making things difficult for you. Don't blame him wrongly." Then she smiled at Su Fang and said, "Last time, because of Taoist, Hien's cultivation fell. It will be difficult for him to recover without 3 million years of cultivation. The Bodhi Tiandi incense will be of great help to him, and this item is not very important to Taoist. It is better to squash enmity rather than keep it alive. Now that the final battle between the immortals and demons is imminent, it is time to use people. Why don't Taoists take a step back and give the Bodhi Tiandi incense to Hien?" In order to avenge his disciple, Mo Wutian, Hizun tried to kill Su Fang with despicable means. As a result, he was counterattacked by Su Fang's Thunder of Destiny, causing him to be seriously injured. If it was only the loss of cultivation, it would be easy to recover. However, Su Fang's life-shrinking art caused Hizun to lose everything related to fate, including his realm and comprehension of the Great Tao. After the incident, Hizun almost despaired to find that not only was a large part of his true qi, primordial spirit, and physical body destroyed, but even his grasp of the Great Tao had fallen. His previous comprehension and control of the Great Tao had suddenly become very unfamiliar, as if there was an additional barrier between him and the heavenly Tao. Hizun thought that this was the effect of the heavenly punishment and couldn't help but fall into despair. This was also the reason why he hated Su Fong to the core and wanted to kill Su Fong at all times. Hizun didn't expect that the immortal Tao faction would take out the Bodhi Tiandi incense as a reward this time. Hizun was pleasantly surprised and rekindled his hope. However, he had missed the previous battle and naturally couldn't get any battle merits to exchange for the Bodhi Tiandi incense. In desperation, Hizun gritted his teeth and took out all his assets. Then he pieced together all the battle merits he had with great difficulty and came excitedly to exchange for the Bodhi Tiandi incense. Who knew that he would meet Su Fong on a narrow road, and that Su Fong had chosen the Bodhi Tiandi incense in advance? =our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 16:13. Discussion before the battle. If it was any other immortal supremacy, Hizun would have slapped him out of the door. However, who was Su Fong? Putting aside his identity as a Taoist disciple, he was the immortal Tao's destined hero. After killing Crimson Bright Young Master, he had become the spiritual leader of the immortal Tao. Hizun's identity as the great elder of the heavenly Mandai Hao Tsang sect was nothing in front of Su Fong. Hizun suppressed the anger in his heart and said humbly, "Su Fong, give me the Bodhi enlightenment incense, and the grudge between you and me will be written off." Su Fong showed an apologetic expression and said, "Tao Master, I'm really sorry. I'm determined to get the Bodhi enlightenment incense and can't give it up. I hope Tao Master can forgive me." What a joke. Not only did Hizun want to kill Su Fong to avenge Mo Wutian, but he also wanted to kill Su Fong ever since. With Su Fong's ruthless personality, he would kill him as soon as he found the opportunity to eliminate future troubles in advance. How could he give him the Bodhi enlightenment incense that was so important to him? Could it be that he wanted him to recover and become stronger so that he could kill him? Tao Master Hizun couldn't bear it anymore and shouted, "Su Fong, don't go too far. Do you think you can be so arrogant and overbearing in front of me just because you have the identity of a Taoist disciple and are praised as the so-called destined hero?" Su Fong mocked back, "I chose the Bodhi enlightenment incense first. I don't want to give it to you, so I'm arrogant and overbearing? I want the Bodhi enlightenment incense. Even if I'm really arrogant and overbearing, what can you do?" Hizun gritted his teeth, and his eyes almost spat out fire. However, Su Fong was in the right, and his identity wasn't as high as Su Fong's. What could he do to Su Fong? I can't help Taoist disciple if he doesn't want to give up the Bodhi enlightenment incense," Tao Master Hong said helplessly to Hizun. "Su Fong, old worries and new hatred. This seat will remember all of it for you." Hizun coldly snorted and left the cave with monstrous anger. Tao Master Hong entered the depths of the cave and took out a jade box. Su Fong opened the jade box. There was a 3-inch-long incense stick inside, and it emitted a faint and exotic fragrance. Su Fong only took a whiff of the fragrance, and his mind immediately became clear and bright, and many insights gushed out from his heart in an instant. Bodhi Tiandi incense. Thank you, Lord Tao Master. Su Fong put away the Bodhi Tigress incense, feeling very happy. Daozi used his battle merits to exchange for this. Why are you thanking me? However, Daozi must be careful. He is a narrow-minded person and will seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Daozi must be careful of his revenge. Tao Master Hong had the intention to curry favor with Su Fong and repeatedly exhorted. Su Fong understands. Su Fong smiled embarrassedly. He really didn't take Hizun's threat to heart. After leaving the cave, Su Fong passed through the formation, returned to the palace where he lived, and entered the true dragon world. Su Fong didn't immediately use the Bodhi Tigress incense to cultivate. Such a precious treasure must not be wasted in the slightest. Su Fong decided to adjust his cultivation and realm to a peak state. At that time, he would use the Bodhi Tigress incense. The life essence, vital qi, and energy of experts below the middle stage of the Tao realm were not of much use to Su Fong's cultivation. Su Fong directly refined all the demon corpses he killed this time into energy essence for the undead king, Gue, and the big goblin under him to devour. Su Fong himself had divine essence pills and many top spiritual items in the great world. With the help of these resources, his cultivation speed was still not slow. Under the state of transforming into the underworld blood sea and constantly devouring divine essence pills and spiritual items, Su Fong's life aura, vital qi, and various kinds of energy gradually reached a peak state. Let's see what kind of realm my next world cultivation will reach. Su Fong's deep eyes flashed with a hale and hearty gaze. His heart was filled with anticipation. Su Fong cultivated the 9 yang, 9 transformations, and cultivated the yang meridian. Together with the world fragment, he formed the heaven and earth Tao palace. This was a supreme, heavenly Tao that was like the universe. Now that the 9 yang, 9 transformations had reached the 5th transformation, the world fragment had also transformed into a world seed, which then grew into a world tree. With the help of Emperor Tianbao's great Tao of refining, Su Fong's world cultivation reached a new height. Su Fong had a general direction of how to walk the path of cultivation in the future, but it wasn't very clear. This time, with the help of the Bodhi Tigress incense, if he could see a higher realm, it would undoubtedly be of great help to Su Fong's cultivation. Su Fong took out the Bodhi Tigress incense, flicked out a flame, and lit it up. Then he floated in the air. Wispy green smoke floated out and floated around Su Fong's head. Su Fong slowly inhaled it. A mysterious aura rushed into Su Fong's divine aperture ocean. In an instant, Su Fong felt the 9 yang 9 transformations, the heavenly secret life shrinking technique, the ethereal truth, and other cultivation techniques, as well as the various laws, became extremely clear in his heart at this moment. Many of the problems he encountered in his cultivation suddenly became clear. Su Fong didn't try to comprehend or cultivate anything. Instead, he kept inhaling the fragrance of the Bodhi Tigress incense and immersed himself in this state. Then he stepped into a wonderful and incomparably mysterious realm. This realm surpassed his current understanding of his own world cultivation. The feeling in his heart was incomparably clear, but he couldn't describe it. After an unknown period of time, without Su Fong activating it, the yin-yang Dao wheel in the whirlpool state trembled. Suddenly, a mysterious yin-yang reincarnation divine aura burst out. The Black Lotus true body, the dragon subduing true body, the fire cloud emperor body, the purple cloud dharma spirit, and the other immature thunder punishment true body, the faceless golden dipper body, and the extinguishing soil that he used as the root of the world tree. The vital qi, demonic qi, and demonic qi in the golden core origin all entered the world tree through the yang meridian. Boom! A wave of yin-yang world power burst out from the heaven and earth Tao palace and swept to every corner of his body. Then it formed the divine aura of the world that extended from his body to the outside, until it covered an area of thousands of feet. Puff! 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 All the matter and energy in this area were shattered and disintegrated, becoming part of Su Fong's world. At this moment, Su Fong felt as if he had become the universe of heaven and earth. In this world, his will was the power and law of the world, dominating everything in his world. An area of thousands of feet was not considered big for an immortal venerable expert. However, Su Fong had a strong confidence. In the world formed by his body, except for the strength of his physical body, all the supernatural powers and auras that were based on the power of heaven and earth and the law of heaven and earth would not be able to unleash any power because they had lost the source of power and law. Covered by his world, the peerless experts of the high-level Tao realm would be easily suppressed by him. Even the top experts of the peak Tao realm would find it difficult to escape. Even if they couldn't kill them, they would be severely injured. Puff! After 5 breaths, the world formed by Su Fong's body shook and then collapsed. Su Fong withdrew from this extremely powerful state. In this short period of time, Su Fong's face turned pale and his entire body seemed to be exhausted. Almost all of his strength had been exhausted to the limit of what he could bear. Looking around, Su Fangdao was shocked. The Bodhi Tihu incense had completely burned out and turned into ashes. The surrounding thousands of feet had turned into nothingness. The surrounding array had collapsed. The matter had been shattered, and the energy had become extremely chaotic. Su Fang's dojo in the True Dragon world was completely destroyed. Su Fang hurriedly activated the divine aura of the True Dragon world and left this area. Although he had lost a Bodhi Tihu incense and a dojo, Su Fang was extremely excited. Under the effect of the Bodhi Tihu incense, I entered a higher realm of cultivation in this world. I can't believe I can unleash such powerful strength in such a realm. With Su Fang's current strength, he was still unable to unleash such a realm. However, Su Fang had already matured to this realm. As long as he continued to cultivate, he would not be far from possessing such strength. The benefits that the Bodhi Tihu incense had brought to Su Fang were far more than that. Through this enlightenment, Su Fang had a clearer and more intuitive understanding of the future world's cultivation. There was no longer any confusion in the road ahead. This made his goal very clear and his Tao heart even firmer. My Yang Meridian is the foundation of my own world. It is the universe of heaven and earth. Although I have reached the fifth transformation, it is far from enough. It causes the world to not be stable enough. It is also not like the universe of heaven and earth, endlessly growing and evolving. Therefore, the 9 transformations is still my #1 cultivation technique. The world tree is the power and laws of heaven and earth in the universe. It comes from a Yang Meridian and various true bodies. The power of my true body is not strong enough, and I still lack water and earth true bodies. Therefore, the world is not complete. It is difficult to maintain the divine aura of the world for too long. It is also not strong enough. The focus of my cultivation next is to continuously transform my various true bodies. I also have to cultivate the water and earth true bodies. Next, Su Fang began to devour elixirs, spiritual objects, and other resources to recover the huge consumption just now. About half a year later, under the powerful devouring power of the Acheron Blood Sea, Su Fang consumed a large amount of divine essence elixirs, spiritual objects, and other resources. Finally, he was almost fully recovered. Come to the conference hall. There is an important matter to discuss. At this time, the voice of Holy Man Han Su's immortal soul pierced through the void and directly entered the palace where Su Fang lived. It was sensed by Su Fang with the divine aura of the Jinlong world. Could it be that the final battle between the immortals and demons is about to erupt? Su Fang flew out of the Jinlong world and went straight to the sky above a lone peak in the Immortal Way camp. This was where the power of the Immortal Way camp was concentrated. The perimeter of the lone peak was heavily guarded. Many peerless Tao masters of the Great Elder level personally led cultivators to patrol. After a thorough examination of Su Fang, he was finally led by a powerful Tao master to pass through the incomparably powerful enchantment and arrive at the lone peak. Outside the conference hall, Su Fang was once again interrogated before he was let in. It seems that the final battle is really about to erupt. Seeing such a situation, how could Su Fang not understand the logic in his heart? But what Su Fang found strange was that the upper echelons of the Immortal Way camp him to discuss matters of the final battle. Although Su Fang was the Taoist of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect and was hailed as the Heavenly Fate hero by the Immortal Way, he was not qualified to participate in the decision-making of the Great Immortal Way. =_our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1614. Novels A Suicide Mission. As soon as he entered the main hall, Su Fang's expression changed. Sang *%, dance *%, small *% speak. Why was that? In the Great Hall, there were only 5 advanced Tao Masters, including Tao Master Han Su. The sect master of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect was also in the Great Hall. No one knew when he had arrived at the Immortal Demon battlefield. It wasn't just the sect leader of the Heavenly Mandate Bright firmament sect. There were 5 other peak Tao realm experts at the same level as him. 3 of them were peak Tao realm experts, and Su Fong had never seen them before. They should be the hidden experts of the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect. What shocked Su Fong even more was that the person sitting on the throne was not the sect master of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect. Instead, it was an old man who seemed to have 1 foot in the grave. However, the feeling he gave Su Fong was one of emptiness, vastness, and mystery. It was as if he did not belong to this world. The old man leaned back in his seat as if he had fallen asleep. When Su Fong came in, his eyes suddenly opened. Divine light swept over Su Fong, making Su Fong feel as if his entire body was being seen through. Even his fate and future were being spied on. He is the master of the star-herding peak, the pinnacle existence of the Yu greater world, immortal elder Tianji. Su Fong was incomparably shocked. Immortal elder Tianji smiled at Su Fong, then closed his eyes again. Only then did Su Fong's discomfort disappear. The other experts were also sizing up Su Fong. However, they did not give off the same terrifying feeling that immortal old man Heavenly Fate gave off to Su Fong. Su Fong, have a seat. Heaven's mandate Hao Tsang sect master said majestically, gesturing for Su Fong to take a seat at the end of the right side. All signs indicate that the demons have already made preparations for the final battle. They may attack the immortal Tao's defensive line with all their might at any time. As for our side, we've also made preparations for the final battle. The final battle between immortals and devils will take at most a year to a month. The other experts in the hall were clearly aware of this news, but they all wore grave expressions when they heard the sect master's words, causing the atmosphere in the hall to become tense and oppressive. A peak-level Tao realm expert from another faction asked, "The demon clan must have gathered their experts. How is their overall strength?" The cultivators of the immortal Tao outnumber the demonic army by 5 times, but the number of demonic cultivators above the Tao realm and resurrected powerhouses outnumber the immortal Tao by 3 times. The peak Tao realm powerhouses outnumber the immortal Tao powerhouses by 10 times, but the resurrected powerhouses make up the majority. None of the immortal Tao experts in the hall looked pleased. Both sides had invested hundreds of millions of cultivators in the great war of the immortals and demons. It was extremely difficult for the demons to reproduce. Add to that the losses they'd suffered in the last war, and their population was far inferior to the immortal Tao's. This was the only advantage the immortal Tao had. However, the deciding factor in a true war wasn't the total number of cultivators on both sides, but the number of experts above the Tao realm. This was especially true for peak Tao realm experts like the sect master of the heavenly mandate bright sect. The demons had 10 times more experts than the immortal Tao. How could anyone not despair with such a huge gap? A moment of silence ensued. The heavenly mandate sect master said, "This concerns the life and death of the immortal Tao world. Only by fighting to the death can we have a sliver of hope. Even if we know we'll lose this war, we must fight to the bitter end. Moreover, it's not as if the immortal Tao has no chance of winning. The immortal Tao has a deep foundation that far surpasses the demons and resurrected powerhouses. The immortal Tao has our sect's first supreme elder, as well as senior divination and 5 other demigods who can surpass the limits of a major world. They're on par with the demons, and there's no lack of sect-guarding artifacts and Tao treasures among the immortal Tao's factions. That's something the demons are far inferior to." The heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect master's words eased the crowd's mood. Su Fong's heart trembled. The major world has 5 demigod powerhouses who surpass the peak of the immortal Tao. Senior divination has repeatedly divined the workings of the heavens and deduced that the immortal Tao will have a great opportunity to turn things around. Everyone's spirits were roused as they looked at immortal elder divination. "What are you looking at me for? I'm not a god. Although I've divined that the immortal Tao will have a chance to turn things around, I can't deduce the specifics." Immortal elder divination's eyes remained closed. The sect master continued, Although there's a chance to reverse the situation, we still need to take the initiative to find it. After repeated discussions with several powerhouses, we've come to the conclusion that the immortal Tao will have to send out a surprise army to reverse the situation. A surprise army? The sect master declared. I've decided to send out a surprise army to bypass the demon's defensive line and launch a sneak attack from the rear when the battle erupts. A pincer attack from the front and rear will throw the demons into chaos. This is the only way for the immortal Tao to win. It's also the opportunity that senior divination has divined. Some of the peak powerhouses present fell silent. A surprise army was simply a suicide squad. Even if they managed to reverse the situation, the leader and the entire squad would have a slim chance of survival. No, there was no chance of survival. The peak powerhouses of the immortal Tao will have to face the demons head-on. Moreover, sending them out will easily attract the demons' attention and force them to take precautions in advance. That way, they won't be able to take the enemy by surprise. Additionally, the leader of this surprise army will need not only great strength, but also the courage to face death with equanimity and great charisma. The heavenly mandate Haotsong sect master added. Su Fang's brows furrowed. He'd already guessed the reason for calling him here. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Everyone's eyes fell on Su Fang. Who else but Su Fang was qualified to lead the surprise army? Just as expected, the sect master continued. This battle concerns the life and death of the immortal Tao. As the leader of the immortal Tao, our heavenly mandate bright firmament sect should naturally disregard the sect's losses and sacrifice ourselves. Taoist Dao Hongtian is the next leader of the heavenly fate bright sky sect. He's the best candidate to lead this surprise attack on the demon's rear. However, a few months ago, a grand elder of our sect, Dao Hongtian's master, met with an accident during cultivation and was gravely injured. Dao Hongtian was urgently summoned back to the sect. After much consideration, the only candidate to lead this surprise army is another Taoist of our sect, Su Fang. Su Fang, you're not only a Taoist of the heavenly fate bright sky sect, but also a hero of the immortal Tao. You're strong enough to fight against high-level Tao realm experts. If you lead this surprise army, we'll definitely succeed in one fell swoop. Su Fang, you won't let down the sect and the immortal Tao world, right? The heavenly fate bright sky sect's leader's eyes shone brightly as he stared at Su Fang, full of trust and anticipation. Anger and resentment surged uncontrollably from the bottom of Su Fang's heart. Dao Hongtian's master had met with an accident at a time like this. How could there be such a coincidence in the world? Su Fang definitely had nothing to do with Dao Hongtian. He must have been kept in the dark. Su Fang wasn't afraid of any danger. Any cultivator was duty-bound to die in a life-and-death battle against the demons. However, the sect's actions chilled Su Fang to the core. At the same time, Su Fang felt sorrow for the entire immortal Tao. Even now, the heavenly fate bright sky sect was still scheming against their own disciples. Su Fang's eyes were cold. The sect has been so heartless to me. How can I be loyal to the sect? How can its disciples and experts feel a sense of belonging to such a sect? The heavenly fate bright sky sect will be destroyed sooner or later, and the entire immortal Tao world will be implicated. The great hall was silent. Tao, Sovereign Han, Su's lips quivered, but he didn't say anything in the end. He only sighed ruefully in his heart. Although Su Fang defeated the demon's holy son, Ming Yin, in the competition, he also suppressed Dao Hongtian, the sect's chosen Taoist. He's put the sect in a difficult position. Moreover, Su Fang killed Mo Wutian and injured Izun. This has violated the sect's greatest taboo, and that's only one of the reasons. When Su Fang accepted the Heavenly Fate Bright Sky sect's baptism, he caused the Heavenly Fate Bright Sky sect to sever its connection with the God realm, endangering the sect's foundation. Even if this matter has nothing to do with Su Fang, how can the sect not take its anger out on him? Su Fang being hailed as the Heavenly Fate hero is not the sect's wish. He killed the demon's young lord, Qi Ming, and angered the master of the demons. He also completely destroyed the sect's desire to compromise with the demons. Su Fang's current reputation is like that of a spiritual leader of the immortal Tao world. Almost all of the middle and lower level cultivators respond to his call. No one doesn't worship him. Even the sect master doesn't have such prestige. This is an even greater violation of the sect master's greatest taboo. How can a sect not want to get rid of him after committing so many taboo crimes? The sect master's decision is clearly to use him as cannon fodder and use the demons to eliminate him. Sigh. In the face of destruction, the sect is still so jealous. After this battle, even if it is lucky enough to preserve its power, how long can it last? If Su Fang dies in the hands of the demons, it may not be a bad thing. It's much better than dying in the hands of the sect's schemes. Tao Master Han Su's thoughts were the true intentions of the Heavenly Fate Bright Sky sect's sect master. A peak-level Tao master from another sect broke the silence. Su Fang is the #1 genius of the great world, and he is also hailed as the Heavenly Fate hero by the immortal Tao. His killing of Qi Ming's young lord made Su Fang's reputation unparalleled in the immortal Tao world, and he is the spiritual leader of the immortal Tao. If he leads a surprise attack on the demon's army, it will be a heavy blow to the immortal Tao if he dies. This is extremely inappropriate. Please reconsider. The Heavenly Fate Bright Sky sect's sect master said imposingly, "The immortal Tao world has reached the final moment of life and death. There is no way out. Which immortal Tao cultivator dares to cherish his life? Once we lose, we will be destroyed. Where will the morale come from? At this moment, if the Heavenly Fate Bright Sky sect doesn't step forward, who else can?" The righteous voice of the Heavenly Fate Bright Sky sect master reverberated in the great hall. Everyone fell silent and looked at Su Fang, waiting for his reply. It was unknown when immortal Elder Tianji had opened his eyes. He stared at Su Fang with his spirited eyes, seemingly interested in Su Fang. Novel == our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 16:15. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Su Fang slowly stood up and looked at the sect master. Then his gaze swept past the peak immortal Tao experts in the hall. I, Su Fang, am an immortal Tao cultivator. I will fight for the immortal Tao. What is there to fear about death? I have accepted the sect's orders. I will lead a surprise attack on the rear of the immortal Tao army during the final battle. Su Fang's voice carried a resolute aura. Many experts were moved. The sect master laughed heartily. Taoist Su Fang is truly righteous. As expected of the immortal Tao's hero, a role model for all immortal Tao cultivators. Thank you for your praise, sect master. Su Fang cupped his fists in thanks. However, he was sneering in his heart. I, Su Fang, am not a fool. Can I see that the sect wants to use me as cannon fodder? I am not fighting for the immortal Tao, nor for the Heavenly Fate Haitsong sect. I'm fighting for my family and friends, and for myself. My father, clansmen, friends, subordinates, and Xuanqin are all in the immortal Tao world. If the immortal Tao is destroyed, they will not be able to escape, including me. For them, and for myself, I will fight with my life on the line. So what if I die? Everyone thinks that leading a surprise attack on the immortal Tao army is certain death. However, I, Su Fang, do not believe it. I will use my strength and luck to fight for a chance of survival. Heavenly Fate Haitsong sect, you are treating me like this. One day, you will pay a heavy price for today's decision. Although Su Fang was thinking this, he did not show it on his face. I still have a few small requests. I hope the sect and all the experts can fulfill them. Su Fang cupped his fists. If he did not ask for more now, when would he? The sect master smiled. Go ahead. Su Fang said, I come from an immortal domain at the edge of the immortal Tao world. My father, clansmen, and friends are there. Regardless of the outcome of this battle, and whether I can survive, I hope the sect and all the experts present will protect them. Of course. The sect master nodded. This matter was only a small matter to the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect, so he naturally agreed. Daozi is willing to pursue the immortal Dao and is not afraid of death. How can I let Daozi's family and friends suffer any harm? After this great battle, regardless of whether the immortal Dao wins or loses, I promise to do my best to protect Dao Child's family and friends. The other powerhouses also nodded in agreement. The peak powerhouse, who had tried to dissuade the heavenly mandate sect master earlier, made a solemn promise. There's one more thing. My Dao companion, Fairy Xuanxin, has been accepted as a disciple by Lady Frozen Dream in name, but in reality, she has ulterior motives. Sect master and all the experts here, please promise me that after the battle, you will send experts to rescue Fairy Xuanxin from Lady Frozen Dream and send her back to the immortal domain where I was previously. This matter couldn't be any simpler. Although immortal Mistress Frozen Dream isn't an ordinary immortal venerable, could it be that she dares to go against the entire immortal Dao? I promise to do this for you. My master, immortal venerable Ji Hong, is old and weak. Please don't let him participate in the immortal demon war. Immortal venerable Ji Hong is old and weak. Approved. At the level of an immortal venerable, it was possible for him to be old, but it was impossible for him to be weak. Su Fong actually described his master in such a way. This made all the experts present speechless. However, they all praised Su Fong for being so protective of his master. In addition, Su Fong revealed an embarrassed expression. In addition, I also want to choose some treasures from the battle contribution rewards. I want to use them before the great battle so that they can be of more use to the immortal Dao. These treasures were originally set up to encourage the cultivators of the immortal Dao. Since you didn't hesitate to take the risk to launch a surprise attack on the devil race, you naturally have the qualifications to enjoy them. However, I can't let you choose as you wish. It can only be something that is necessary for your cultivation. When you receive the treasures, you need to prove that the treasures are necessary for your cultivation. The sect master hesitated for a moment, but he still agreed in the end. However, he was worried that Su Fong would take all the rewards for himself. Therefore, he specially set a restriction for Su Fong. Many thanks, sect master. This disciple will definitely go through water and tread on fire without hesitation. This disciple will take his leave. Su Fong cupped his fists towards the sect master and the experts present. Go! Remember, this is the highest secret of the immortal Dao. You must not reveal anything. In addition, I heard that you have been listed as the #1 assassination target by the devil race. You must be careful before the great battle. The sect master of Heaven's mandate, Hao Tsong's sect, reminded him worriedly. Many thanks for sect master's concern. Su Fong understands. Then, Su Fong left the palace in embarrassment. The experts of the immortal Dao couldn't help but sigh as they watched Su Fong's departing figure. Such a peerless genius was born at the wrong time, encountering the immortal Dao's doomsday calamity and offending the Heaven's mandate, Hao Tsong's sect, due to showing off his abilities. How could they not feel pity for him before he could mature? Immortal Elder Tianji's eyes flashed with a sharp glint as he thought to himself. The key to the immortal Dao's reversal in this battle of life and death is most likely on this child. Su Fong left the lone peak where the immortal Dao's authority was concentrated and passed through a formation to arrive in the sky. Heaven's mandate, Hao Tsong's sect, humph. You'll regret treating me, Su Fong, as cannon fodder sooner or later. Su Fong coldly snorted as he looked at the lone peak. Buzz, just as he was about to leave, a rune talisman in his storage ring suddenly stirred. He took out the rune talisman and shot out a beam of light that condensed into the nascent spirit of Grand Star Hall's Grand Elder Yin. Taoist disciple, Su Fong said imposingly, "Is there news about the devil race's mission?" "You're wise, Taoist disciple. According to the information from our spies in the Grand Star Hall, the devil race's spy among the immortal Dao's factions has secretly colluded with one of their higher-ups in an attempt to harm you, Taoist disciple. As for who this higher-up is, it's hard to find out at the moment. Please be prepared, Taoist disciple. I understand. I, Su Fong, will remember this favor that the Grand Star Hall has done. I will repay you in the future." No need to be so polite, Taoist disciple. It's the Grand Star Hall's greatest honor to be able to work for you, Taoist disciple, Grand Elder Yin said courteously. As he nodded, his nascent spirit vanished without a trace. To think that there would be a higher-up in the immortal Tao's factions colluding with the devil race. But that's not surprising. There are always those who are afraid of death. If I catch them, I'll make sure they suffer a fate worse than death. Su Fong snorted. He wasn't too concerned about the assassination attempt by the devil race's spy. With his current strength, unless a peak Tao realm expert came in person, anyone who dared to enter the immortal Tao's faction would be courting death. Phew, Su Fong returned to his palace in the immortal Tao's faction. Brother Su. He didn't expect Feng Ling and Tuo Yu to be waiting at the entrance of the palace. Seeing that the two didn't look like they had nothing better to do, Su Fong asked, "What's the matter?" "Well, it's nothing," Tuo Yu stammered. He looked like a barbarian. His bashful appearance made him look very strange. Feng Ling said, "Tuo Yu, at this point, you don't have to hide anything anymore. Only Su Fong has the ability to solve this problem." Su Fong said, "We are friends. If there's anything that I can help with, I won't stand by and do nothing. What's there to hide?" Feng Ling said, "Do you still remember Ling Yu from the World Palace?" "Ling Yu? That savage and violent woman. Of course, I remember her." Su Fong chuckled. Ling Yu was a special disciple ranked 3rd in the World Palace. She cultivated the unique Tao of ice and fire, and she had a violent personality. Su Fong had a deep impression of her, so he naturally remembered her. During the Battle of the Chosen, Yu Fengling and Tuo Yu performed outstandingly and were accepted as disciples by the Tianming Bright Sect. But Ling Yu didn't have this opportunity. After the Battle of the Chosen, she returned to the World Palace. In this great war of the immortals and demons, the Tianming Bright Sect had mobilized all the forces in the immortal Tao realm to participate. The World Palace was a vassal force of the Tianming Bright Sect, so they naturally sent their experts to the battlefield of the immortals and demons. Ling Yu was among them, but she didn't have much contact with Su Fong. "Brother Su, it's like this. These days, Tuo Yu and Ling Yu have been together, and they have a good impression of each other. They plan to become Tao companions, but there's been a change in the situation, so I'd like to ask Brother Su to step in." "Tuo Yu and Ling Yu become Tao companions?" Feng Ling's words made Su Fong very astonished. Tuo Yu is a Tao cultivator with the bloodline of the ancient barbarian tribe. He had a wild and violent personality, while Ling Yu was a typical violent woman. For the two to become Tao companions, Su Fong couldn't help but shudder. Seeing Su Fong's expression, Tuo Yu's face flushed red. Su Fong asked, "This is a good thing. What's there to be shy about? What do you need my help with? Could it be that you want me to propose marriage for you?" "That's not it." Feng Ling shook his head and sighed. It turned out that Tuo Yu and Ling Yu had arrived at the battlefield of the immortals and demons first. Before that, Tuo Yu had saved Ling Yu in a great battle, and they had developed feelings for each other. Tuo Yu's current status was extraordinary, and his future achievements were limitless. Ling Yu's sect, the World Palace, and her family were all in favor of this. Who knew that just a few days ago, Ling Yu was suddenly taken away by her family? Moreover, the clan leader personally said that a peerless genius with a great background had taken a fancy to Ling Yu and wanted to become Tao companions with Ling Yu. However, it wasn't that the Ling family didn't give Tuo Yu a chance to duel with that peerless genius. Not only was it a duel between the two of them, but both sides also invited experts to duel to decide who Ling Yu belonged to. Tuo Yu went to ask his master to step in. However, the final battle between the immortals and demons was imminent. How could his master stand up for Tuo Yu for such a matter? Helpless, Tuo Yu asked Feng Ling, and then wanted to ask Su Fong to step in. "It's just a small matter. What time and place did you agree on?" Su Fong smiled faintly. He didn't expect to encounter such a melodramatic matter. Su Fong admired Tuo Yu very much, and their relationship was very good before. Naturally, he would help him. 10 days later. The location will be in a wasteland 100,000 miles behind the camp. Tuo Yu answered honestly. 10 days later? Just send me a message when the time comes. Su Fong's eyebrows furrowed, and he immediately agreed. There should be enough time within 10 days. As for the location, Su Fong didn't care. Equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 16:16. The next day, Su Fong once again came to the cave abode to exchange for battle merits. Since the sect master of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect had personally agreed, Su Fong would not be polite. Taoist, are you going to choose a treasure? Dao Master Hong, who was guarding the cave abode, had obviously received orders from the higher-ups and understood the purpose of Su Fong's visit. Yes, please give me the list of treasures. Su Fong cupped his fists and said. Dao Master Hong hesitated for a moment and said apologetically, well, the sect master personally instructed that although you can choose any treasure, it must be useful for your cultivation. Therefore, you must prove that this treasure is indeed useful for your cultivation before I dare to give it to you. Otherwise, I can't bear the blame of the sect master. Dao Master Hong found it strange that the sect master would agree to Su Fong's strange condition, but he had to obey and fulfill his duty. How can I prove that this treasure is necessary for my cultivation? It can't be simpler. You just need to show me your cultivation method or divine ability to prove that you need this treasure for your cultivation. That's good. Su Fong smiled, which made Dao Master Hong feel that something was wrong. Soon, Dao Master Hong was stunned by Su Fong's exorbitant demand. Give me 100,000 divine essence pills. The immortal Dao forces only took out 120,000 divine essence pills. How can I explain to the sect master if you take 100,000 at once? Divine essence pills were useful for any Dao master's cultivation. However, divine essence pills came from all over the universe and could only be refined by supreme existences at the peak of the Dao transcendence realm in the macro world. Moreover, the materials used to refine divine essence pills were very scarce, which led to the scarcity of divine essence pills and their high value. This time, the immortal Dao forces only gathered 120,000 divine essence pills in order to reward the immortal Dao cultivators who had made great contributions. Previously, 20,000 pills were exchanged, and the remaining 100,000 pills were all taken away by Su Fong. How could Dao Master Hong agree? These divine essence pills are very important for my cultivation. The sect master agreed that as long as it's useful for my cultivation, I can choose any reward. Taoist primogenitor dares to defy the sect leader's order? This. Taoist, please wait a moment. Dao Master Hong had no choice but to take out a rune talisman and send a message to the sect master. Get it to him. Yes. Dao Master Hong was shocked and stunned. He did not expect that the sect master would agree to Su Fong's rude request. Why does the sovereign favor Su Fong's Daozi so much? Could it be that Daozi Su Fong is the sovereign's long-lost, illegitimate son? Since the sect master had personally agreed, there was no reason for Dao Master Hong not to give it to him. However, he muttered in his heart. He immediately went into the depths of the cave, took out all the divine essence pills, and handed them all to Su Fong. Ancient spirit vein? I need them for my cultivation. Lord Dao Master, give me 1,000 of them. 1,000? Dao Master Hong's eyeballs almost popped out. In the end, he only gave Su Fong 100, and Su Fong did not insist. I want all of these wood-type fays. According to what I know, the Taoist only cultivates great Dao cultivation methods and divine abilities. There is no wood-type. Chi. Su Fong stretched out his right hand, and his fingers immediately turned into vines. They grew and emitted a strong wood-type power. He really cultivates wood-type divine abilities. Dao Master Hong was shocked again. However, he could not let Su Fong take away all the wood-type phase. Once again, he transmitted his primordial spirit to the heavenly mandate sect master. The sect master's primordial spirit voice turned cold. You can only choose one of them. So be it. Among the treasures offered by the immortal Dao forces, most of them were wood-type phase. Not only were there a lot of them, but they were also very rare in the great world. Some of them were also treasures from various worlds. Su Fong also knew that the sect master would not let him take all of them. After careful selection, Su Fong finally chose a divine wood called the star-sinking wood. I want all of the golden origin steel essence. Cultivating the faceless golden dipper body required metal-type essence. Metal-type phase were already very rare. In the great world, only the golden origin steel essence was the most precious. It was also the most useful for Su Fong to cultivate the faceless golden dipper body. I don't believe that the Taoist also cultivates metal-type cultivation methods or divine abilities. Tao Master Hong naturally would not let Su Fong have his way and flatly refused. Su Fong activated the faceless golden dipper body and displayed his metal-type ability. Tao Master Hong was shocked again and handed all 9 fist-sized pieces of golden origin steel essence to Su Fong. Next, Su Fong displayed his thunder-type and fire-type abilities. As for his earth-type and water-type abilities, he used the Xian Huang 6 Paths Pagoda to release his innate divine power. Here you go. Here you go. Tao Master Hong was completely numb to Su Fong's abilities. After repeatedly asking the sect master of the Tianming Hao Tsang sect, he reluctantly handed over all the peerless treasures to Su Fong. The sect master, who was at the peak of the Tao realm, also lost his usual majesty and calm temperament. In the end, he actually looked like he was gnashing his teeth. Under the almost dazed gaze of Tao Master Hong, Su Fong left the cave residence contentedly and returned with a full load of treasures. He entered the true dragon realm. After Su Fong formed a seal, his physical body shattered and turned into a bloodwater state. He began to crazily devour divine essence pills, various phase, treasures, and resources. Ambushing the rear of the demon army was a mission with almost no chance of survival. Su Fong had to be well prepared. At this time, even if he increased his strength by a little, he might have a chance of survival in the future battles. Whoosh, 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 the blood water roared crazily and surged like a vast ocean. One by one, the Fays were thrown into the blood water by Su Fong. They were gradually swallowed and merged with the blood water. At the same time, Su Fong also activated the 9 Suns' 9 transformations and various cultivation techniques, constantly transforming various physical abilities. He also activated the World Tree, allowing it to continuously absorb the power of the world contained in the phase. However, the energy contained in these phases was really shocking. With the Yellow Spring Blood Sea's ability to devour, Su Fong did not dare to devour them without restraint. 3 days later, after Su Fong devoured a large number of fire-type phase, the dragon bird also spewed out a golden flame, which was absorbed by the Yang Meridian. It immediately caused a huge commotion in the 48th Yang Meridian that was breaking through. When the 9 Suns' 9 transformations reached the 5th transformation, the number of Yang Meridian increased. Su Fong's difficulty in forming a new Yang Meridian increased, and the time required to accumulate Yang Qi also increased. The last time Su Fong killed Tao Master Divine Cauldron, he obtained a ball of divine fire from the Divine Cauldron. The energy had not been completely merged. In addition, the extinguishing earth also contained the fire-type energy of the myriad worlds, which was continuously absorbed by Su Fong's Yang Meridian and the World Tree, turning it into Yang Qi that continuously rushed into the 48th Meridian. The fire-type phase that Su Fong obtained this time were all top treasures of the Great Worlds, far from what a heavenly flame seed like the heavenly flame seed could compare to. After devouring a small portion, the dragon bird, which had been dormant for many years, spewed out a flame that contained the astonishing power of the sun, causing a huge commotion in the yin-yang Dao wheel formed by the 47th Yang Meridian. The 48th Yang Meridian that was breaking through was about to be successfully formed in a short time. Su Fong was overjoyed and immediately activated the 9 Suns' 9 transformations, gathering all the energy in the yin-yang Dao wheel and body to break through the 48th Meridian. At the same time, Su Fong also activated the Origin Essence Sacred Realm, absorbing the cold Yin Qi from the treasure mirror into his body, fusing it with the fierce Yang Qi in the yin-yang Dao wheel, causing the Yang Qi in the Yang Meridian to become even more profound. The 5 circles of yin-yang whirlpools formed by the 47-yang meridian were burning crazily, causing the entire heaven and earth Tao palace to tremble crazily. With every attack, the yang qi would pass through the world tree, causing Su Fang's yin-yang world power to increase continuously. A divine aura that only a god could have filled the heaven and earth Tao palace. Qi. After countless strikes by Su Fang, a flame of yang energy swept across the yin and yang Tao wheel with a surging momentum, rushing into the outer meridians like a flood. After a violent tremble, this meridian turned into a jade-like yang meridian. The newly born yang meridian moved automatically, fusing with the 47th yang meridian of the yin-yang Tao wheel, turning into the yin-yang Tao wheel formed by the 48 yang meridian. The yang force in the yin-yang Tao will changed qualitatively once again. Not only did it become heavier, but the blood qi in Su Fang's body also became more vigorous. Su Fang's vitality became stronger and reached a new height. The 48th yang meridian was successfully born. With the life and death battle imminent, Su Fang had an additional yang meridian, increasing his overall strength once again. Naturally, Su Fang was overjoyed. Su Fang kept swallowing spiritual items to replenish the yang qi that was consumed by the birth of the new yang meridian. The 10 days agreed with Tua you were about to arrive. Whoosh, a Su Fang formed in the yellow spring blood sea and flew out of the true dragon world. Su Fang returned to the true dragon world, leaving behind many blood water clones to continue swallowing spiritual items. In 10 days, Su Fangkai had devoured less than 1% of the spiritual items he had obtained. Apart from successfully developing a yang meridian, the Tao Palace of Heaven and Earth, as well as his various true bodies, had undergone significant changes. However, he was still very far from truly transforming. Su Fang passed through the formation, flying from the depths of the immortal Tao Palace to the back, finally flying out of the barrier. Brother Su is indeed punctual. Tua Yu thanks you in advance. Tua Yu and Feng Ling have been waiting for a long time. When they saw Su Fang, Tua Yu said gratefully, "It's a small matter. No need to thank me. Let's go." Su Fang waved his hand and smiled. This kind of thing might be extremely important to Tua Yu, but to him, it was just a small matter. Just as he was about to move, the Tao of Destiny suddenly flashed in his mind. Someone was sensing Su Fang's aura, causing the life-shrinking technique to react. Moreover, the life-shrinking technique could sense that this sensing power hid a murderous intent that threatened Su Fang's fate. Who is sensing my fate and trying to threaten my safety? Could it be a spy from the demon race hiding in the immortal Tao Palace? =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 16-17. The runes of the heavenly fate contraction art finally coalesced into an illusory figure in his mind. Hizun, you really won't let the matter rest after I stole your Bodhi enlightenment incense. Since you don't know what's good for you, I'll fulfill your wish. Su Fang snorted coldly in his heart and quietly flew back with Feng Ling and Tua Yu. At the same time, Su Fang secretly activated the heavenly fate contraction art and his great perfection abilities to observe Hizun's every move. As Su Fang expected, Hizun also left the immortal Tao camp and followed them from afar, roughly 5,000 kilometers away from the demonic and immortal battlefront. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Within the range of Su Fang's great perfection senses, a dozen figures met up with Hizun. Among the dozen or so experts, there were the Devil Race and the Resurrected Experts. Among them, there were 2 high-level Tao Realm Peerless Experts. The resurrected Buddhist cultivator who'd participated in the assassination of Tao Sovereign Yangming was also among them. Hizun colluded with the demons. So the senior immortal Tao leader that the Grand Star Hall was talking about was Hizun. Hizun is the Grand Elder of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect and holds a high position in the sect. He didn't hesitate to collude with the demons in order to take revenge on me. Damn it! Judging from how Hizun and the demons were prepared, they must have predicted that I would leave the immortal Tao camp. Can it be doubts arose in Su Fang's mind. When his great perfection abilities swept over Feng Ling and Tuoyu, Su Fang dispelled his suspicions about them. They definitely wouldn't leave him out. However, the Ling family's actions were rather suspicious. The so-called challenge was most likely a trap set up specifically to lure Su Fang out of the Immortal Dao camp. Hizun, since you're courting death, I have no choice but to fulfill your wish. Su Fang sneered and took out a rune talisman with a flip of his hand. The head of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect had personally given this talisman to Su Fang. Through it, he could directly communicate with Su Fang and issue orders to Su Fang. Please wait for a moment. Su Fang asked Feng Ling and Tuoyu to wait for a while he himself flew 1,000 feet away. With his back facing the two, he transmitted his primordial spirit to the sect master through the rune talisman. Sect master. From a rune talisman came the voice of the sect master's primordial spirit. What's the matter? A few days ago, Su Fang had caused the immortal Dao forces to pay a huge price. Naturally, the sect master would not treat Su Fang nicely. The voice of his primordial spirit was filled with coldness. Su Fang didn't take it to heart. He transmitted his voice. Sect master, I'm currently outside the immortal Dao camp. I'm surrounded by demon race experts. Please lend me a hand. Since there was power that could be used, Su Fang naturally wouldn't take action personally. The other party had 2 high-level Dao realm peerless experts. Including Hizun, there were a total of 3. In the face of such strong enemies, no matter how confident Su Fang was, he could not fight against 3 town masters at the same time. The voice of the sect master's primordial spirit became extremely angry. The war is imminent. You have an important task on your shoulders. How dare you leave the immortal Dao camp without permission? Su Fang said, I didn't hesitate to take risks and used myself as bait to attract the demon race spies, giving the immortal Dao a chance to eliminate them in one fell swoop. The sect didn't reward me. Why did the sect blame me instead? The sect master fell silent. Obviously, he was very angry with Su Fang. Su Fang said helplessly, I'm now besieged by 3 high-level Dao realm Dao masters and more than a dozen demon race experts. The situation is critical. If you don't send someone to rescue me, I'll have to ask someone else to carry out the task of launching a surprise attack on the demon race. Try to buy some time. I'll personally lead experts here. Give me the coordinates of your location. The voice of the sect master was full of anger and helplessness. However, Su Fang was more important to the immortal Dao. How could he leave him in the lurch? After ending the conversation with the sect master, Su Fang chuckled. Then, together with Feng Ling and Tuoyu, he slowly flew toward the agreed location with the Ling family. Although Tuoyu was burning with anxiety, Su Fang wasn't in a hurry. He could only be patient. 10,000 miles behind Su Fang, a demon race expert dressed as an immortal Dao cultivator saw Su Fang slow down and couldn't help but feel anxious. He asked aloud, if we delay any longer, we may be discovered by the immortal Dao experts. He ain't do it. Hizun smiled gloomily. This place is too close to the immortal Dao camp. It's too early to make a move now. Don't worry. I've been so cautious and deliberately took a big detour. How can Su Fang detect any clues? It turned out that the truth of the matter was somewhat different from Su Fang's speculation. The peerless genius from a powerful force proposed to the Ling family, and then proposed a duel with Tuoyu. It was indeed true. However, these matters were secretly promoted by Hizun and the demon race spies. Even the parties involved were kept in the dark. Both sides of the duel invited experts to help. This was Hizun's true purpose. It was to lure out Su Fang and kill Su Fang outside in one fell swoop. There weren't many experts Tuoyu could invite, and Su Fang had a good relationship with him. Who else could he invite but Su Fang? Moreover, Su Fang had always granted his friends' requests. Naturally, he wouldn't refuse Tuoyu's request. He took such a big detour to lure Su Fang out. It could be seen how deep Hizun's schemes were and how determined he was to kill Su Fang. Looking at Su Fang, who was 10,000 miles away, Hizun's eyes exuded a chilling chill. Be patient and wait for Su Fong to fall into the trap. Humph! This time, he won't be able to escape, even if he grows wings. The high-level Tao realm demon, disguised as an immortal Tao elder, smiled and said, "When we successfully kill Su Fong, the demon race naturally won't treat Sir He-in unfairly. Not only do I want the demon race's bounty, but I also want all of Su Fong's treasures, especially the Bodhi Enlightenment incense. That's only natural. In addition, Su Fong is protected by the heavenly Tao. Be careful not to suffer the backlash of heavenly punishment when you act later. The so-called protection of the heavenly Tao is nothing but nonsense. If there really were immortal Tao cultivators who were protected by the heavenly Tao, how could the immortal Tao realm face destruction? Besides, Su Fong is the target of the demon realm's master. Even if he's to suffer heavenly punishment, he must be killed at all costs." Determination flashed through the demon elder's eyes. Then, he advised Izun, "He-in, since you're cooperating with the demon race, why don't you pledge allegiance to the demon race? When the final battle erupts, you can cooperate with the demon race's army in the immortal Tao camp. When the demon race becomes the master of the great world, you can also become the master of an immortal domain." He-in was silent for a moment and then decisively said, "This matter is not unnegotiable. You and I can discuss it in detail after we kill Su Fong." The demon elder smiled eerily. "Sir, He-in is really sensible. You've made a great contribution to the demon race by killing Su Fong. If you make another contribution in the final battle, you'll definitely be valued highly by the demon realm's master. You're destined to become a top figure in the great world's Tao in the future." Hizun smiled gloomily, and his ugly face with black spots showed a proud expression. Then He-in spoke again. "It's not convenient for this seat to show up to kill Su Fong. Later, I'll hide in the dark and won't take action unless I have no other choice. Sir Demon Lord, please don't take offense." The demon elder said confidently, "It doesn't matter. With this seat and so many demon experts here, even if Su Fong has the strength of Tao Master Yangming, it's difficult for him to escape the fate of being suppressed. Su Fong, Feng Ling, and Tuo, you flew unhurriedly for half an incense stick's worth of time. Buzz, a rune talisman in the storage ring, once again sounded. Su Fong took out the rune talisman. The anxious voice of the sect master of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect sounded in Su Fong's mind. "Su Fong, are you safe and sound now? The demon race hasn't acted yet." The sect master of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect breathed a sigh of relief. Although he couldn't wait for Su Fong to die, it was absolutely not now. Su Fong asked, "How many experts did the sect master bring?" "What? Can't I save you with my own hands?" Su Fong smiled sheepishly. "With the sect master personally taking action, unless the lord of the demon world appears, what demon expert wouldn't be suppressed? I'm just worried that those demon spies and experts will flee at the sight of the sect master. Wouldn't that be a pity?" The sect master said indifferently, "You don't have to worry about that. Sect master, please don't be in a hurry to act. It won't be too late for you to act after this disciple has lured all the demon experts and spies here." How did Su Fong look like he was in a critical situation? He clearly wanted to borrow the power of the immortal Tao to eradicate those demon experts in one fell swoop. The sect master's voice didn't sound again. The dignified sect master of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect, the leader of the immortal Tao's #1 faction, was being ordered around by a disciple of his sect like a hired thug. One could imagine how depressed he was, but he had to pinch his nose and accept it. After the conversation with the sect master ended, Su Fong smiled coldly. "If you want me, Su Fong, to be cannon fodder, then I'll let you be my hired thug for once. To have the sect master of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect be my hired thug, my face is really not small. Let's go, speed up." Su Fong coldly shouted at Feng Ling and Tuoyu, releasing a divine aura that wrapped around the two of them and then broke through the sky. When the three of them reappeared, they were already 100,000 miles away in a vast wasteland. There they are. In the sky above the wasteland, more than 100 people stood in the air. Tuoyu took the lead and flew over. Su Fong, and Feng Ling following behind like followers. There were more than 100 people from the Ling family, the peerless genius from a great faction, and the experts he invited to assist him, as well as the elders of his sect. It was quite a grand scene. On Tua Yu's side, there were only 3 people, including him. It was inevitable that they looked shabby, and they were mocked and ridiculed by the peerless genius and the Ling family. The peerless genius looked to be in his early 20s. He had a handsome face and a heroic spirit. His cultivation base was also extraordinary, having reached the peak of the 9th Path Saint Immortal Realm. He was indeed an extraordinary genius, and was a good match for Lingyu. The genius glanced at Tua Yu and the 2 people behind him, and the corners of his mouth curled up in disdain. I thought you could invite some experts, but I didn't expect you to invite 2 kittens and puppies. You want to fight with me for a woman? His fellow disciples behind him immediately burst into laughter. Even the people from the Ling family looked at Tua Yu with disdain and contempt. Lingyu was surrounded by the Ling family members in the center, and she suddenly shouted, "Su Feng, why are you here? Su Feng is nothing. I don't care if you're Su Feng or Su Yuan. It's Su. Su Feng." The peerless genius voice stopped abruptly as if someone had suddenly grabbed his neck. =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 16:18. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Everyone's eyes immediately focused on Su Feng. Su Feng, he's Su Feng. Heavens, I'm actually seeing Su Feng. Su Feng had shocked the world with a single brilliant feat during the Tao Disciple competition and was hailed as the #1 genius of the Immortal Tao. He had killed demon Sovereign Manju, forced back the ancient demon expert demon Sovereign Barbarian God, and then killed young Master Crimson Bright of the demon race. He had publicly rebuked the Lord of the demon realm. Now, Su Feng was not only a hero of the Immortal Tao, but also a spiritual leader of the Immortal Tao. In the Immortal Tao world, there were many peerless experts stronger than Su Feng, but who could compare to Su Feng in terms of reputation and prestige? This was especially true for the younger generation of cultivators. In their hearts, Su Feng was the heavens, an existence akin to a god. Su Feng's portrait had already spread throughout the Immortal Tao world. It was to the point where everyone knew him. Naturally, he was recognized at a glance. At this moment, Su Feng had actually appeared in front of them alive. This caused the elders of the incomparably arrogant young genius, his fellow disciples, and the people of the Ling family to be all shocked and surprised. Soon after, their eyes flashed brightly as they looked at Su Feng with reverence and fanaticism. Su Feng. The peerless genius face turned pale with a whoosh. Then his entire body trembled violently like a sieve, and his mind went blank with a boom. I actually said what Su Feng was. Su Feng, this is Su Feng. Tua Yu is a savage. How could he have invited Su Feng? If I had known this earlier, why would I have tried to steal his woman? The elders and fellow disciples of the sect that this young genius had invited to support him were all shocked, and then they suddenly came to their senses. Instantly, they trembled as if they had been doused with ice water. The Ling clan's clan leader was an old man at the Saint Celestial stage. After all, he was experienced and knowledgeable. When he saw Su Feng following behind Tua Yu like Tua Yu's follower, the light in his eyes instantly changed. He asked Lingyu in a low voice, this barbarian, how did he know Su Feng and even manage to get Su Feng to help him?" Lingyu said, Su Feng participated in the Taoist competition held by the Heavenly Mandate, Hao Tsang sect, precisely through the recommendation of the World Palace. Tua Yu also came from the World Palace. So what's so strange about him knowing Su Feng? Back then, I almost fought with Su Feng. I didn't expect that Tua Yu actually had such a close relationship with Su Feng. If I had known earlier, I would have directly asked Su Feng to help me. How would I have been bullied by that pretty boy? Tua Yu saw that Su Feng had just appeared, and his opponent was already acting like this. He couldn't help but straighten his back and coldly shout at the genius who was pursuing Lingyu. "Didn't you want to duel with me? Let's begin. Should the 2 of us go first, or should your helper go first?" That young genius had long been so frightened that he couldn't speak. It was his old senior who stepped forward and bowed deeply to Su Fong. He said respectfully, "Taoist Su Fong, my junior was ignorant and offended Taoist friend. Please forgive me for my rudeness." Su Fong smiled faintly. "Tuayu and Lingyu are both my friends. Since the two of them are in love and have willingly become Taoist companions, others shouldn't interfere. What do you think?" A layer of sweat seeped out of the old man's forehead. He nodded repeatedly in agreement. Su Fong continued, "Does the duel still need to continue? I wouldn't dare. We'll take our leave now. After we return, I will definitely strictly discipline my juniors." The old man trembled as he spoke. Then he took that genius and his fellow disciple and was about to leave. Su Fong suddenly said, "Wait." The old man and the young cultivator's faces both changed. The old man trembled as he said, "If Taoist wants to punish us, I have nothing to say." Su Fong waved his hand and said, "If you leave now, I'm afraid there will be an unexpected disaster. In order to not implicate you, it's better for you to leave later." The old man and the others mistakenly thought that Su Fong wasn't willing to let them go. They were incomparably terrified, but they didn't dare to go against Su Fong's wishes. They stayed where they were. Each and every one of them was afraid that Su Fong would punish them later. Su Fong looked at the Ling clan leader. "Tuayu's talent is extraordinary. In the future, he will definitely be a top powerhouse in the outside world. His future is limitless. Since he is in love with Lingyu, why don't the clan leader do them a favor?" The Ling clan leader chuckled and said, "Taoist is right. Tuayu and Lingyu becoming Taoist companions is Lingyu's blessing and also the Ling clan's honor. In a few days, I will hold a Taoist dual cultivation ceremony for them." Hearing the clan leader's words, Tuayu was instantly overjoyed. He chuckled at Lingyu. Lingyu rolled her eyes at him. Then, her face was full of smiles. She looked very happy. Then, she said gratefully to Su Fong, "Su Fong, thank you." Su Fong smiled and said, "It's a small matter. Besides, Tuayu and I are friends." The clansmen of the Ling clan, including Ling Yu's parents, originally didn't like Tuayu. They felt that Tuayu was a savage. However, at this moment, Tuayu was pleasing to the eye. They felt that the only cultivator in the outside world who was worthy of their daughter, other than Su Fong, was Tuayu. The Ling clan leader tried to get close to Su Fong. Su Fong dealt with him while activating his great fulfillment ability. About 15 minutes later, Su Fong's great fulfillment vision saw that many Devil Clan powerhouses and resurrected cultivators were rushing over from all directions. There were actually more than 50 of them, except for one Devil Venerable powerhouse who was at the peak of the high-level Dao realm and a Buddhist cultivator of the same level. The other Devil Clan powerhouses and resurrected cultivators were at least at the level of an ordinary Immortal Venerable. Such a powerful force was almost equivalent to one of the top forces in the Immortal Dao realm. It was clear that the Devil Clan was determined to get Su Fong this time. Sect leader, the Devil Clan powerhouses have been drawn over. You can move now. Su Fong secretly transmitted his nascent spirit voice to the Tianming Hao Tsong sect through the rune talisman. Sect leader Wei Ran said, "The Devil Clan has sent out so many powerhouses. They really think highly of you. This time, we'll make sure they don't return." Suddenly, Su Fong lost the connection between his nascent spirit and the Tianming Hao Tsong sect leader. The space within a radius of 10,000 miles seemed to be isolated from the world. A divine formation shrouded this area. This formation was neither offensive nor defensive. It was used to isolate the nascent spirit and the power of perception. It was obviously the work of the Devil Clan powerhouses. Their purpose was naturally to prevent Su Fong and the Immortal Dao powerhouses. However, these Devil Clan powerhouses didn't expect that Su Fong's heavenly secret life, shrinking technique, and great fulfillment sensing ability had already known their purpose. They were only 100,000 miles away from the Immortal Dao realm camp. The peerless powerhouses of the Tianming Hao Tsong sect arrived in an instant. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. One figure after another gathered from all directions. The Devil Clan, so many Devil Clan powerhouses. Everyone turned pale with fright and wanted to flee in all directions. Su Fong shouted coldly, "If you want to stay alive, everyone stay where they are and don't move." Seeing Su Fong so calm, everyone recovered from their initial panic. With Su Fong here, what was there to be afraid of? In their hearts, Su Fong seemed to have become an omnipotent god. Some of the more quick-witted ones recalled how Su Fong had stopped the old man and the young prodigy from leaving. They guessed that Su Fong already knew that the Devil Clan was coming. Although they didn't know Su Fong's intentions, they were instantly reassured. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. More than 50 Devil Clan powerhouses and resurrected powerhouses appeared 10,000 feet away. They formed a circle and surrounded Su Fong and the others. Now, unless one had the supreme strength of a peak Dao Realm powerhouse like Dao Master Yangming, even a high-level Dao Realm powerhouse would find it difficult to escape. Su Fong, an old Devil Clan cultivator with the face of an immortal Dao cultivator, leaped into the air and looked down at Su Fong. He exuded a supreme, domineering, and evil aura, as if he was the ruler of evil. A divine aura enveloped everyone. You killed the young master of the Devil Clan and were rude to the supreme ruler of the Devil World. Su Fong, you are so arrogant and mighty. Have you ever thought that there would be a day when you would fall into the hands of the Devil Clan? The old Devil Clan cultivator said coldly. Su Fong mocked. It seems that I haven't fallen into the hands of the Devil Clan yet. It's a little too early for you to be proud. What's the point of being a trapped beast on the verge of death? Fine, you immortal Dao cultivators never shed tears until you see the coffin. I'll give you a chance. Unleash your full strength, and let me see what's so outstanding about you. The so-called #1 genius of the great world, the destined hero of the immortal Dao. The old Devil Clan cultivator said imposingly. He looked at Su Fong like a demon god looking at an ant, full of disdain, brutality, and the domineering aura of victory. This person is mine. Before the old Devil Clan cultivator could make a move, an indifferent voice filled with murderous intent came from the side. It was the Buddhist cultivator. He was bald, and his eyes were sunken so deep that his pupils were almost invisible. His face was withered, and his skin was an eerie gray. Although no aura of death could be sensed from him, a single glance from his eyes gave one a terrifying feeling that all things in the world were withering away and dying. The Buddhist cultivator said indifferently, "This person's body contains tremendous vitality. If I devour him, I'll have a chance to break through to a higher realm. How can I miss such an opportunity?" Demonic light flashed in the old Devil Clan cultivator's eyes. He said coldly, "Supreme Buddha, cave demon, Su Fong is an important person that the Lord of the demonic realm wants. Even if you kill him, his body must be handed over to the Lord of the demonic realm. Your mission is to help me suppress him, nothing else." The Buddhist cultivator, named Supreme Buddha, cave demon, said, "The Lord of the demonic realm's decree has nothing to do with me. Apart from the will of the supreme evil god, I won't obey anyone else's decree. Leave this person's body to me, and I won't care about anything else. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless." Although the cultivators of the demonic clan and the resurrected cultivator weren't at loggerheads with each other, they were still hostile, especially the resurrected cultivator. Some of the resurrected cultivators of the demonic clan were even hostile to the other cultivators of the demonic clan. Su Fong's deep eyes flashed with surprise when he saw this. These two supreme cultivators of the peak Dao realm are fighting in front of everyone. It seems that the demonic clan and the resurrected cultivators aren't so harmonious. =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1619. Undead Lord. Su Fong peeled off a young immortal and entered the dark sky burying coffin. The undead lord walked out from the side of the formation in the Dao treasure space. "Master, what are your orders? Let me ask you, you once said that resurrected cultivators, big goblin, and demon powerhouses to establish a powerful faction in the great world. Is this true?" "Yes, master." The undead lord spoke tirelessly. As the world changed, countless cultivators, big goblin, and demon powerhouses were resurrected with the power of the evil sun. In the beginning, these resurrected powerhouses could only rely on their instincts to devour all life to survive. Some ancient powerhouses only had evil and ruthless consciousnesses after they were resurrected. Later, the evil god's consciousness descended with the power of the evil sun and was controlled by the evil god's consciousness. The resurrected powerhouses gradually gathered together and formed a powerful faction. However, this faction was hidden in the dark, so the higher-ups of the demon race and immortal Tao were unaware of it. The undead lord's words greatly shocked Su Fong. He then asked, "What is the purpose of a faction established by resurrected powerhouses? How many powerhouses are there in the faction?" The resurrected powerhouses are controlled by the evil god's consciousness and naturally want to become the rulers of the great world. I came to the immortal domain where Master resides precisely because I had a mission. As for the powerhouses in the faction, they can only be described as innumerable. What Master knows is only the tip of the iceberg. There are also several demigod-level resurrected powerhouses more powerful than this Buddhist cultivator. As for how many there are, I couldn't reach that height because I hadn't recovered my strength at the time. The undead lord's next words made Su Fong suck in a breath of cold air. With the rise of the fifth evil sun, the reality was even more terrifying than what the undead lord knew. It seemed that the faction established by resurrected powerhouses was much stronger than the demon race. After all, the demon race had suffered great losses in the last Great War. The reason they were now stronger than the immortal Tao world was not only because many ancient demons had broken their seals and broken free of their shackles, but also because the resurrected powerhouses had joined them. The greatest threat to the great world is not the demon race, but the resurrected powerhouses. The resurrected powerhouses, including the resurrected demon powerhouses, aren't of the same mind as the demon world. They might even join forces with the demon race for other purposes. If we make good use of this, the immortal Tao has a chance of survival. After thinking for a while, Su Fong had some ideas and returned to his main body with the young immortal. While the Buddhist powerhouse was arguing with the demon elder 100,000 kilometers away, Hizun was outside the boundary of the immortal Tao camp and looked over. Although he couldn't see anything, Hizun had a smug grin on his face as he muttered to himself, "Su Fong, you killed my beloved disciple and caused my strength to be damaged. You even arrogantly stole the Bodhi enlightenment incense that belonged to me. You would never have thought that just by using my brain, I would put you in a life and death situation. Humph, the Bodhi Tigress incense and all the treasures on your body belong to me. It's a pity that I can't see you struggling in the hands of the demon race." The more Hizun thought about it, the happier he felt. Hizun's divine light changed instantly, and he looked inside the barrier in disbelief. Swoosh! Swoosh! One figure after another shuttled out of the formation. Led by the sect master of Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament, 5 peak Tao Realm powerhouses, more than 20 advanced Tao Realm powerhouses, and more than 100 immortal venerables were dispatched. Almost all the top powerhouses of the immortal Tao had come out. Could it be that we've been exposed? Impossible. The demon race used a powerful formation to isolate heaven and earth and deceive the senses. Su Fong can't send a message to the sect, and the immortal Tao powerhouses can't detect any abnormalities. But the final battle between immortals and demons is imminent, and almost all the powerhouses have left the immortal Tao camp. What's going on? Hizun's head buzzed. While speculating about the purpose of so many powerhouses, he braced himself and stepped forward. "Greetings, Sect Master. Why are you here, Heen?" The Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament's leader raised his eyebrows and shouted coldly. Hizun was a grand elder, but with the decline of his strength, his status in Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament was declining day by day. Even the sect master didn't treat him like a grand elder, but like an ordinary immortal venerable. Heen was worthy of being the grand elder of Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament. Although he was shocked and frightened, he remained calm on the surface. He cupped his fists and said, "Sect Master, because my strength can't be restored, I can't be of use in the final battle. I'm very irritated, so I came out to relax." "Go back," the Sect Master said majestically. "Sect Master, what's going on? Although I've lost my strength, I can still contribute to the immortal Tao world," he probed. "No need. You'd better go back to the camp and rest. The final battle between immortals and demons will erupt in a few days. It'll be time for you to contribute." The Sect Master waved his sleeve and led many powerhouses away. Boom! Seeing that the immortal Tao expert was heading in the direction where Su Fong was, Hezun's mind exploded like a clap of thunder. I was actually discovered. How is this possible? How is this possible? Hezun couldn't believe it was true. In the end, he had to accept this reality and said resentfully, "Although the demons have been thwarted this time, no one will suspect me. Su Fong, you're lucky this time. Sooner or later, you'll die in my hands." Huff, the heavenly mandate Bright Firmament's leader, led many powerhouses and appeared outside the encirclement of the demons. "Protect Su Fong well. Don't let a single demon escape," the Sect Master shouted coldly, full of murderous intent. One after another, the peerless experts of the immortal Tao unleashed their auras and charged towards the devil experts. Some of them formed a huge encirclement around the devil experts, encircling them instead. Impossible. The plan to kill Su Fong was so well thought out. How could the immortal Tao have detected it? According to the demon spies in the immortal Tao faction, Su Fong isn't valued by the heavenly mandate Bright Firmament sect. However, the immortal Tao has dispatched so many powerhouses, almost all of them. How could Su Fong's position in the immortal Tao be so important? The elder demon's expression changed in an instant, revealing an incredulous expression. The other demons and resurrected powerhouses all panicked. In front of so many immortal Tao powerhouses, apart from the two-peak Tao realm powerhouses who had a chance of survival, everyone else would be crushed. Feng Ling, Tua Yu, and the others were equally shocked. In order to rescue Su Fong, not only had the heavenly mandate Bright Firmament sect master personally set out, but all of the immortal Tao's powerhouses have been dispatched except for those mysterious demigods. Just how important was Su Fong's position in the immortal Tao? How could they possibly know that the heavenly mandate Bright Firmament sect master had personally led so many powerhouses here because of Su Fong's importance? Rather, it was to use Su Fong as cannon fodder. They had no choice but to follow Su Fong's lead by the nose. The heavenly mandate Bright Firmament sect master's light swept over the demons and declared in a domineering voice, "The demons are truly arrogant. How dare you barge into the world of the immortal Tao and attempt to kill a Tao disciple of the heavenly mandate Bright Firmament sect? You're courting death. I'll avenge senior brother Yang Ming by killing all of you." Huh. The reincarnated expert, named Cavern Sea Buddha, clasped his hands together. A gray Buddhist light brimming with an intense aura of death erupted from his body and quickly condensed into a lotus throne beneath him. This Buddhist expert had actually activated the supreme Buddhist combat power of the Golden Lotus Duster. All of a sudden, Dong Shui lifted the Golden Lotus Buddha whisk and spun it above his head, emitting dense death chi and gray Buddhist light. Then it shattered, and a world-destroying explosion swept out, sending the demons, resurrected experts, and immortal Tao experts around him flying off their feet. Meanwhile, Dong Shui disappeared from where he stood. Don't let a single demon or resurrected cultivator escape. The sect master of the heavenly mandate Haotsong issued an order, and two-peak Tao realm powerhouses shot through the air to pursue Buddha, Cavern Demon. The other immortal Tao powerhouses also moved to prevent the demons from escaping. I miscalculated this time, but if you want to kill me, you're dreaming. Not only can I move about freely in the world of immortal Tao, but I'll also kill your so-called heroes of destiny in front of all immortal Tao experts. The demon elder cackled maliciously before his face and body transformed into his true form. However, he wasn't a celestial demon, but a demon god that was 100 times more terrifying than a celestial demon. His aura was vast and violent, as if a true demon god had descended upon the greater world. Su Fong, hand over your life. The old man's figure flashed, leaving behind a series of afterimages. Su Fong, watch out. Fall back. The heavenly mandate Hao Tsong sect head hadn't expected the demon to be so arrogant. Instead of trying to fight his way out of the encirclement, he wanted to kill Su Fong. After a loud warning, the sect head and another peak Dao realm powerhouse attacked. Boom, boom, boom. How terrifying would it be for two peak Dao realm powerhouses to attack at the same time? The space collapsed, the laws collapsed, and the heavens and the earth were shaken. If it were not for the fact that the two peerless powerhouses had mastered the laws to the point where they could control them as they pleased, Feng Ling, Tui Yu, and the others would have been wiped out without a trace. However, the Demon Elder didn't care about the fatal attacks at all. He took the attacks of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsong sect head and another peak Dao realm powerhouse head-on. His demonic aura, demonic armor, and physical defenses shattered layer by layer, and his demon god body was severely injured. In the blink of an eye, the Demon Elder was only 30 meters away from Su Fong. Equals _ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1620. Hiss. The demonic hand suddenly grew to a height of 300 meters and came crashing down on Su Fong with overwhelming momentum. It was as if the world itself was going to be crushed by the hand, shattering everything around it. If you want to kill me, Su Fong, then you should be prepared to be crushed. Su Fong sneered. The various energies in his body surged into the Tao palace of heaven and earth and were absorbed by the world tree. Then, the divine might of the world of yin and yang that surpassed the limits of the world's power and laws exploded out of his body and rapidly spread out. Although the world formed by Su Fong's physical body, energy, and laws was far from the level of the Bodhi Enlightenment incense, Su Fong had also activated the ethereal insight's combat arts, increasing the might of his world by several times. Even if it couldn't suppress this great demon of advanced Dao realm, it was still a great deal of trouble. Boom, boom, boom. As Su Fong's world spread out, the old demon's shackles and demonic arts shattered layer by layer. Not only that, but even the old demon himself was enveloped in Su Fong's world. This is a world formed by one's own body. The old demon felt like facing Su Fong was an illusion that he was facing the heavenly Tao. Moreover, he could sense that he'd lost touch with the world, as if he'd been placed in a world whose power and laws were completely different from the outside world. He couldn't circulate his demonic energy or use his supreme demonic arts. All that was left was his physical strength. This person is simply heaven-defying. An initial Tao sovereign has cultivated a world to such a level that he can transform himself into a world. If I don't get rid of him, he'll become a great threat to the demons sooner or later. Shocked and stunned, the old demon still didn't think of escaping. Instead, he thought of suppressing Su Fong. However, in the world formed by Su Fong's power and laws, Su Fong was the only ruler of this world. He was the heavenly Tao. With a single thought, he could summon the power of a world's shackles that didn't belong to the real world. The old demon immediately found it difficult to move an inch. How dare a mere initial Tao realm cultivator try to shackle me? Break from me. After all, the old man of the demon clan was a peak master of a big world. Moreover, he had received the demon god's blood to purify his marrow. His body was incomparably strong. Although he couldn't perform the demon technique, his pure physical strength wasn't something that Su Fong's world could shackle. His physical strength burst out, shattering the shackles layer by layer. The world that Su Fong had created was shaking violently. It seemed like it was about to collapse. Poof! Su Fong couldn't support the world anymore. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and the world collapsed. Die! The old man cackled maniacally and pounced on Su Fong like a demonic beast from the myriad worlds. A short distance of 30 meters was nothing to a peak expert of the demon race. It was too late for the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect master and the other peak Dao realm expert to help. The one who should die is you. Sun God's arrow. Su Fang's lips curled up, revealing a sharp, killing intent. His eyes suddenly burst with a dazzling golden light, like a divine sun blooming. It turned out that Su Fang had the dragon bird explode with the power of the sun and used his eyes to release the sun god's arrow. This was his true killing move. Whoosh! The sun god's arrow, condensed from golden light, shot out from Su Fang's eyes with a terrifying divine might that could destroy all darkness and evil. The old man of the demon clan was worthy of being a peak master of a big world. The moment Su Fang's eyes flashed with golden light, he sensed great danger approaching. It could even threaten his life. In his shock, the elderly devilish man had no time to evade. The only thing he could do was to release a burst of devilish, baleful aura from his body, which formed a layer of black devilish armor that enveloped him from head to toe. Screech! The sun god's arrow hit the old man's forehead, colliding with the demonic armor condensed from demonic aura. Golden light splashed everywhere. The demonic armor actually blocked the sun god's arrow. However, the old man didn't fare much better. He was sent flying by the huge impact. The demonic armor, flesh, and bone between his eyebrows were burned into a fist-sized hole by the power of the sun. The divine might of the sun, which was fatal to demons, seeped into his sea of divine apertures, severely injuring his primordial spirit. The headmaster of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect and a peak master of the Dao realm were both surprised and delighted. They attacked the old man at the same time. The other peak master of the Dao realm also finished his slaughter of the demons and joined in the attack. The old man of the demon clan was extremely powerful. If the masters of the immortal Dao had come and focused on escaping like Buddha Cavern Sea, they wouldn't have been able to suppress him even with so many of them. At most, they would have been seriously injured. However, he was overconfident and had the arrogance unique to the demon clan. He planned to kill Su Fang before escaping. Even if he was seriously injured, it was still worth it. However, he had never thought that Su Fang not only had the ability to defend against his attack, but also possessed a supreme divine ability that could severely injure him. The headmaster of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect was the leader of the number one force of the immortal Dao. His strength was already much stronger than ordinary peak masters of the Dao realm. In addition, there were two other supreme masters of the same level working together. It was naturally very easy for them to deal with a severely injured peak master of the devil race. Asterisk, Hong Hong Hong. Asterisk peak masters of the Dao realm didn't just have the ability to control the natural laws of heaven and earth at their fingertips. They had reached the stage where they could control the laws of heaven and earth with just a word or a thought. They could mobilize the natural laws and unleash supreme divine abilities. How shocking was the scene of the fierce battle between the four peak masters of the immortal Dao realm. Heaven and earth shook. Everything within a radius of 10,000 miles shattered. Energy and laws became chaotic as if the world was about to be destroyed. If ordinary immortal venerables were to be affected, they would be seriously injured. Su Fang took Feng Ling, Tu Yu, and the others and left quickly after injuring the demon clan's old man severely. Under the suppression of the other immortal Dao powerhouses, more than 50 demon venerables quickly ended the battle and withdrew from the area. Apart from the Buddhist powerhouse who had been resurrected, none of the demon clan experts had escaped. They were all suppressed. The earth-shattering battle lasted for half an incense stick's worth of time. Although the demon clan elder was at the end of the line, he still fought to the death. The demon clan's combat strength and ferocity were evident. Su Fang, this seat can't kill you this time. You will be suppressed by the demon clan sooner or later. The immortal Dao realm will eventually become the domain of the demon realm. The demon clan elder roared, causing the sky to change color. In the next moment, a monstrous demonic flame ignited on his body. He wanted to use his physical body and demonic chi to perish together with the immortal Dao powerhouse. At this point, you still want to perish together? Tianming Hao Tsong's sect master sneered disdainfully and struck out a shocking seal. As if under the control of the heavenly Tao, the natural force of heaven and earth formed an astonishing world barrier around the demon clan elder. At the same time, the space around the demon clan elder collapsed rapidly, isolating him from the outside world. Asterisk Kong. Asterisk, an earth-shattering explosion sounded. The demon clan elder's power swept out, shattering Tianming Hao Tsong's sect master's divine ability layer by layer. The aftermath of the explosion swept out in all directions, causing the immortal Tao camp to shake violently. The immortal Tao cultivators in the air who were weaker than the Tao realm were violently thrown to the ground. The other immortal venerables were also on the verge of collapse. The might of this old man from the devil race was actually this terrifying. When everything calmed down, a 1,000-mile crater appeared on the ground like a meteorite. The surrounding space was shattered, but the demon clan elder was nowhere to be seen. A peak Tao realm expert of the demon clan had fallen just like that. Since the great war of immortals and demons, the first grand elder of Tianming Hao Tsong's sect to fall was Tao Master Yangming Tao. On the other hand, the demon clan elder was undoubtedly the demon clan elder, and the one who caused the death of this peak demon clan expert was Su Fong, a cultivator who had just stepped into the Tao. If he hadn't taken the demon clan elder by surprise and severely injured him, even Tianming Hao Tsong's sect master and the other peak Tao realm experts wouldn't have been able to suppress him. Gazes filled with shock and horror fell on Su Fong, including the peak Tao realm experts. They looked at Su Fong with astonishment. Su Fong was also shocked by such a shocking scene. The gap between a peak Tao realm expert and a peak Tao realm expert was so huge. Su Fong now had the strength to kill a peak Tao realm expert, but in the face of a peak Tao realm expert, he didn't even have much power to protect himself. Although Hizun, who was outside the boundary of the immortal Tao camp, couldn't see the scene of the great battle, he could guess what the outcome would be. At the same time, Hizun secretly rejoiced. If he had followed the demon clan experts to kill Su Fong, how could he have survived? Another peak demon clan expert has fallen because of Su Fong. Humph, Su Fong, let's see how you can withstand the demon clan's crazy revenge. Hizun smiled gloomily and shuttled through the formation into the immortal Tao camp. Su Fong. Tianming Hao Tsong's sect master appeared in front of Su Fong. Su Fong cupped his fists and said, "Thank you for saving my life, sect master. Humph, this is the last time. Before I order you to sneak attack the demon clan army, you are not allowed to leave the camp." Although he killed a demon clan expert, the sect master still didn't have a good expression on Su Fong's face. "Yes," Su Fong said respectfully. "The demon clan has lost a peak demon clan expert. The lord of the demon realm will definitely not let it go. The final battle will erupt within a month at most. Go back and prepare to go out anytime. Go to the rear of the demon clan army." The sect master said coldly, then turned around and disappeared into the void. Su Fong looked at the immortal Tao camp, his eyes exuding coldness. It's not enough to get rid of a peak demon clan expert. Before the great immortal demon war erupts, I still have to get rid of Ian. This time, I don't need to use any conspiracy. I will directly suppress Ian. Equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 16:21. Su Fong had Feng Ling, Tuayu, and the others leave first. When there was no one else within the detection range of the Great Perfection Realm, he released the Undead King from the True Dragon Realm. AP, Undead King, I order you to infiltrate the demon race's camp and obtain information from Demon Venerable Barbarian God. When the great war of immortals and demons begins, find a way to incite conflict between the demon race and the resurrected cultivators. The demon race and the resurrected cultivators had the same goal, which was to destroy the immortal Tao. However, there was a fundamental difference between the two. The demon race was also a kind of human. Although they were incomparably evil and cruel, their goal was to dominate the large world and turn the immortal Tao cultivators into slaves and breeding tools for the demon race. It was not to completely destroy the large world. However, the resurrected cultivators had to devour everything with life. Once the resurrected cultivators dominated the large world, there would be no life in the entire large world. In order to destroy the immortal Tao world, the demon race and the resurrected cultivators worked together. If the immortal Tao world was completely destroyed, it was not hard to imagine what kind of situation it would be. Since Su Fong had discovered the sharp conflict between the demon race and the resurrected cultivators, how could he not take advantage of it? Although the undead king was different from the real resurrected cultivators, it was not difficult for him to infiltrate the resurrected cultivators with his strength. In addition, Demon Venerable Barbarian God was an ancient peak expert of the demon race. One of them was among the resurrected cultivators, while the other was among the demon race. It was easy to incite conflict between the demon race and the resurrected cultivators. If he grasped the opportunity well, he could achieve unexpected results. He could even completely reverse the unfavorable situation of the immortal Tao world. Yes, master, the undead king replied respectfully. The undead king's thoughts and consciousness had been completely controlled by Night Demon's second primordial spirit. Everything he did was based on Su Fong's will. Even if Su Fong ordered him to die, he would not frown. Su Fong took out a jade slip and condensed a strand of his will into it. When you see Demon Venerable Barbarian God, give this jade slip to him. He will naturally cooperate with you. Go. Yes. The undead king said to Su Fong and then flew away. Hopefully, the chess piece I've buried in advance will be of use at the critical moment. Su Fong had placed the undead ruler and demon Venerable Barbarian God in the demon race's camp. He was more or less confident about the mission that he was about to undertake. After returning to the immortal Tao faction, Su Fong did not return to his residence. Instead, he flew straight to the palaces where the upper echelons of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect resided. It turned out that he was prepared to deal with the trouble of Izun before the final battle between immortals and devils erupted. This time, the Su Fong did not employ any schemes. Instead, they directly paid them a visit to denounce them. "Heen, get out here!" Su Fong roared with his emperor's godly might. His majestic voice entered the palace where Izun lived and spread in all directions. This palace complex was the residence of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's grand elder-level powerhouses. It was usually very quiet. There was absolutely no cultivator who dared to make a ruckus here, let alone come to make trouble. Su Fong's angry shout immediately alarmed the surrounding upper echelons. However, no one showed up. Instead, they released their sensing power. Seeing that it was Su Fong who came to the door so aggressively and shouted in front of a Grand Elder's palace, the upper echelons of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect frowned. Although Heen offended Su Fong in the past, he was punished by the heavens after all. His cultivation realm fell because of it. Su Fong is still holding on to Heen at this time. Isn't he too aggressive? In order to save him just now, the sect master led all the immortal Tao powerhouses out. Although they killed a peak demon race powerhouse and dozens of demon venerables, the immortal Tao side also had immortal venerables fall because of it. Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect also had a grand elder who was seriously injured. At this time, he actually came to provoke Heen. He is simply becoming more and more arrogant and despotic. Many of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect's grand elders were dissatisfied with Su Fong, but no one came forward to stop him. When Izun heard Su Fong's voice full of murderous intent, he shuddered with fear and trepidation. This time, I contacted the demon race to kill Su Fong. I did it very secretly. Even the sect master didn't notice it, let alone Su Fong. I can't show my fear in front of him. Otherwise, it will arouse others' suspicion. Izun made up his mind and flew out of the palace. Su Fong, what is the reason for you to come to this seat's residence and shout for no reason? Izun shouted angrily. Su Fong sneered. Heen, don't you know why I came here this time? Izun said gloomily. How would this seat know what you want? Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're the so-called hero of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect. Even the dignified heavens mandate how Song Sect's Grand Elder has to be humiliated by you. Since you are young and ignorant, and also a Tao child of the sect, leave. Otherwise, this seat won't be polite to you. You colluded with the demon race and set a trap to kill me. In the end, your plot was exposed, and the demon race was almost exterminated by the immortal Tao powerhouses. But you acted as if nothing had happened and still dared to openly stay in the immortal Tao camp. Su Fong shouted coldly and directly exposed Hizun. What? He actually colluded with the demon race. How is that possible? He is the Grand Elder of Heaven's Mandate, Hao Song Sect. How could he collude with the demon race? The upper echelons of Heaven's Mandate, Hao Song Sect, and the surrounding palaces were all shocked and flew out of the palace. He actually found out about it. I did it so secretly. How did he find out about it? This boy is simply heaven-defying. Could it be that he is really protected by the heavenly Tao and can detect anything that is unfavorable to him in advance? Hizun's heart was set off stormy waves. Su Fong, you slandered a Grand Elder like this. Aren't you afraid of being severely punished by the sex law? What evidence do you have to say that this seat colluded with the demon race? If you don't take out the evidence today, this seat will never let you go. After all, Hizun was an old monster who had cultivated for tens of millions of years. He had long become a shrewd figure. Even if a mountain collapsed in front of him, he wouldn't blink. Although he was shocked in his heart, he didn't show the slightest bit on his face. Instead, he let out a thunderous roar. What you have done, only the heavens and earth know. You and I know. Don't blame this seat for being impolite to you, for slandering this seat like this. Su Fong said domineeringly. Evidence? Su Fong's words are the evidence. Since you want evidence, it's easy to do. After I suppress you, I will perform a soul search on you. Then, the truth of everything you have done will naturally be revealed. This is the evidence. Hizun flew into a rage. One arrogant boy. You actually want to perform a soul search on this seat? Didn't you try to perform a soul search on me with the so-called Great Seer Dream divine ability last time? This time, the matter fell to you, so why can't it? Su Fong mocked. At the next moment, Su Fong took a step forward and went straight to Hizun. From the looks of it, he really planned to suppress Hizun and then perform a soul search on him to extract his memories. Su Fong, how dare you? Do you really think this seat is easy to bully? If I suppress you now, the sect master won't say that I shouldn't do it. Hizun roared in anger. After forming a seal, he activated the Dark Night, Great Tao divine ability, and created a dark night world around him. Any divine aura or divine ability would be blinded by this dark night divine aura. Boom, boom, boom. Su Fong activated the power of the yin-yang world. The divine aura of the world spread out and collided with the dark night world. In the past, Hizun was attacked by Su Fong's Thunder of Destiny. His strength was only slightly stronger than an ordinary mid-level Tao realm expert. However, Su Fong's yin-yang world was a god-level power of a greater world. As a result of the collision, Hizun's dark night divine aura was disintegrated and shattered layer by layer. Life forms suppress. In an instant, Su Fong merged the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda with his body. The demonic aura and genuine qi of 200,000 big goblin cultivators in his body quickly penetrated into Su Fong's flesh and veins with the help of the life magic treasure. The whole process was completed in a flash. In the heavenly Dipper creation cauldron, the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda constantly integrated the top natural essence of the six great worlds, including the extinguishing soil, an earth-type spiritual object from the divine realm. Not only did it become a king-grade Taoist instrument, but it also transformed again and again, making Su Fong's life divine aura even more powerful. Although 100,000 of the 300,000 subordinates in the Jinlong world were taken away by Zhu Huang and other big goblin cultivators, these 200,000 subordinates, especially those small commanders, had devoured the life essence of countless Devil Clan experts. Most of them had reached the level of Demon Emperor. At this time, with the power of all his subordinates, how amazing was Su Fong's strength. Boom! Su Fong punched out, causing the void to collapse and the laws to crumble. Hizun's dark night, divine might, his aura field, and his fleshly body's defense instantly crumbled. This punch was unstoppable. After Hizun spat out a mouthful of blood, his body flew out like a cannonball and smashed into the palace behind him. The palace collapsed with a loud bang. The impact force still hadn't completely dissipated. Hizun's body flew back uncontrollably and destroyed 7 palaces along the way before he stopped. Su Fong, Hizun stood up shakily from the ruins and spat out several mouthfuls of blood with pieces of his internal organs. His aura was extremely weak, and he was in a state of serious injury. So strong, so domineering. What a terrifying power. The surrounding higher-ups of the Tianming Hao Tsang sect were all stunned by this scene. They couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines. Some of the experts who had planned to step forward to stop Su Fong immediately dispelled the idea. Whoosh, Su Fong flew through the air and landed in front of Hizun. Hizun panicked and said tremblingly, "Su Fong, what are you doing?" Su Fong smiled coldly. "What am I doing? Didn't you want me to show you evidence? Naturally, I'm going to search your soul, strip your memory, and find the evidence you want. I am the great elder of the Tianming Hao Tsang sect. Su Fong, how dare you?" Hizun was shocked and angry. After a roar, he spat out another mouthful of blood. "Why wouldn't I dare?" Su Fong raised the corners of his mouth, revealing a domineering aura. "You once searched my soul, and now I'm returning it to you." Then Su Fong raised his hand and landed on Hizun's head. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1622. Hizun, who was seriously injured, almost lost the strength to stand. How could he have the strength to resist? Right at this moment, a majestic voice sounded, "Su Fong, stop!" Before the voice fell, the leader of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect tore through the air and appeared in front of Su Fong, releasing a burst of divine might, shaking Su Fong until he staggered. "Sect Master, save me." Hizun seemed to have grabbed onto a life-saving straw and was immediately overjoyed. Then he grinned hideously at Su Fong. "Su Fong, the Sect Master is here. Let's see how you can still be arrogant, actually daring to make a move and seriously injure this seat. Just wait for the severe punishment of the sect's laws." "Heen, no one can save you this time," Su Fong said indifferently, looking at Hizun like he was looking at a corpse. The Sect Master's eyes burned with fury, and he shouted thunderously, "Su Fong, you still dare to be so arrogant in front of this seat? You're so domineering that you even dared to make a move and kill the sect's first elder. Do you think this seat doesn't dare to punish you?" Su Fong repeatedly violated the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect's Sect Master's great taboo. The Sect Master originally planned to eliminate him with the help of a certain death mission. Ever since Su Fong accepted the mission, he first opened his mouth like a lion and took away countless treasures. Today, because of him, the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect's Sect Master led the immortal Tao powerhouses to move out in full force. The Sect Master, who was already full of anger, was immediately enraged when he saw Su Fong publicly seriously injure Hizun and even perform a soul search on him. Su Fong revealed a look of surprise and astonishment, and he said, "Sect Master, this disciple is eradicating a fiend race spy for the sect and the immortal Tao. Sect Master didn't reward me. Why are you blaming me instead?" The Sect Master laughed angrily and said, "Reward you? What evidence do you have to dare conclude that Heen is a spy? I saw with my own eyes that Heen colluded with the fiend race, peak powerhouse who was killed by the Sect Master. How can this be false? You have enmity with Heen, and you want to kill a first elder just based on your one-sided words? Su Fong, you're too arrogant. Although you're the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect's Tao disciple, you're not the Sect Master. Even this seat as the Sect Master, without evidence, I can't directly punish a first elder, let alone you. Sect Master, why don't you use soul search on Heen? The truth will naturally come to light." The Sect Master shouted thundered again, Presumptuous? How can the dignified heavens mandate Hao Tsang Sek's head elder casually perform a soul search on him? The immortal Tao Hao Tsang Sek's immortal Tao's immortal Hao Tsang Sek's immortals immortal to Hao Tsang. The final battle between immortals and demons was imminent. If there was such a grand elder hidden among the immortal Tao factions, not only the heavenly mandate Bright Firmament sect, but the entire immortal Tao would face a crushing defeat. Ha! The sect master was startled and almost choked by Su Fong. Then, the sect master recovered his dignity as the leader of the Immortal Immortals #1 sect and said, "That time, Hien performed the great Tao of darkness awakening on you, not a soul-searching technique. It won't cause any damage to your memory. So how can it be compared? If you can't produce evidence and seriously injured Hien based on your one-sided words, this seat will not only revoke your status as a Tao disciple, but also cancel your mission and shackle you to wait for the sect's judgment." Hizun gritted his teeth and said, "He's clearly slandering me and taking the opportunity to take revenge. How can he produce evidence? If the sect doesn't punish him severely and give this seat justice, how can the masses be convinced? You want evidence?" Su Fong smiled confidently. "It's not that I don't have evidence, but it's a bit troublesome to get it. Could it be that he really has evidence? I did it so secretly. So how can I have evidence?" Hien's heart sank, and he sneered malevolently. "If you can produce evidence, this seat is willing to accept the sect's punishment." "Very good. Sect Master, come with me." "Humph. Let's see what other tricks you can come up with." The sect master snorted and took Hizun with Su Fong to the rear of the Immortals camp. The other grand elders of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect were also very curious and followed along. Whoosh, Su Fong flew out of the boundary and came to the place where Hizun and the demon race powerhouse had conversed. "Hien, you stayed here with the demon race powerhouse and had an exchange, didn't you?" Su Fong asked coldly. Hizun snorted and didn't speak. The sect master raised his eyebrows and shouted in a deep voice, "Su Fong, where is your evidence?" "My evidence is between heaven and earth," Su Fong said majestically. Boom! A supreme emperor's might that was above the heavenly Tao exploded from Su Fong's body, followed by a mysterious purple aura lingering around him. At this time, Su Fong was like a supreme ruler who ruled the world on behalf of the heavenly Tao. "Come out!" Specks of Xian Guang floated out from the earth, the weeds and the void, and gathered together. It turned out that Su Fong had activated the tyrannical sovereign's invocation of the heavens, releasing the supreme ruler's might with his regal qi and purple qi law spirit. He suppressed the world in an extremely domineering manner and gathered all the information left behind by the events that had occurred in this space. Heaven's secret is good fortune. If I am the ruler, heaven and earth will submit. In the next moment, Su Fong activated the life, shrinking art's supreme ability to suppress heaven and earth. An ethereal divine might shrouded the Xian Guang formed from information. Su Fong's head was immediately covered with a layer of gray at a rate visible to the naked eye. The hair on his temples turned white, and his face turned into that of a man in his 30s in an instant. After the Xian Guang flickered for a while, it quickly condensed into a scroll with vivid and lifelike figures flashing on the scroll. It was the scene of Hizun communicating with the old demon. Divine light flashed in the eyes of the heavenly mandate sect master, and the other heavenly mandate sect powerhouses were all shocked and incredulous. Not only was it because of Hizun's collusion with the demon race, but also because of Su Fong's heaven-defying divine ability. The sect master shot a deep look at Su Fong with a trace of dread in his deep eyes. He then turned to Hizun and coldly said, "What else do you have to say for yourself, Hien?" Hizun's pale face, due to his serious injuries, suddenly turned deathly pale. "No, this is slander." Su Fong didn't hesitate to consume his life force to cast a forbidden art to create an illusion for revenge. "You mustn't believe it, sect master." The sect master said indifferently, "I happened to run into you here when I led the immortal Tao powerhouses to kill the demon race powerhouses. At that time, I found it a bit strange. But now you're still quibbling. It seems I can only use soul search on you. No. Hizun screamed in despair and turned around to flee. However, he was seriously injured at this time. Coupled with the strength of the heavenly mandate sect master, he released a divine power that easily shackled him. Then, a young immortal forcefully and overbearingly entered Hizun's divine aperture. A moment later, Hizun's eyes became confused and then gradually turned sluggish. Whoosh! The young immortal flew back into the sect master's body. Sure enough, you're colluding with the demon race. Not only did you want to set up a trap and kill Su Fong in one fell swoop, but you also wanted to cooperate with the fiend race in the final battle. How can the heavenly mandate, Hao Tsang sect tolerate such a deranged person? Cold, killing intent flashed in the sect master's eyes. He flicked his finger and a Xian Guang shot out, hitting Hizun's forehead and coming out from the back of his head, causing his brain to splatter. Hizun died, but his face was still filled with unwillingness and intense hatred. Su Fong said, "Sect Master, this disciple has made a great contribution to the immortal Tao by uncovering the demon race's spies. Shouldn't I be rewarded?" The sect master's body trembled, and he coldly said, "No." Then, the sect master flew into the barrier without looking back and disappeared. How can I rule the immortal Tao if I don't know the rewards and punishments? Su Fong muttered in dissatisfaction, and then left in embarrassment. Hearing Su Fong's words, the Heavenly Mandate sect's Grand Elders were shocked. In the entire Heavenly Mandate sect, only Su Fong dared to speak to the sect master like this. A peak demon race powerhouse was killed, and Hizun was severely punished for colluding with the demon race. These two things spread in the immortal Tao camp and immediately caused a sensation. Since the Great War of Immortals and Demons, the number of immortal Tao powerhouses who died was far higher than the number of demon race powerhouses. In particular, Tao Venerable Yang Ming was a peak powerhouse of the immortal Tao. His death was a huge loss to the immortal Tao. This time, the demon race also lost a peak powerhouse and more than 50 demon venerables. This was a great loss to the demon race. Although it couldn't be said to be a serious injury, it could definitely be said to be disastrous. Hizun was the Heavenly Mandate sect's Grand Elder and had an extraordinary status. If he wasn't exposed for colluding with the demon race, who knew what kind of heavy losses he would bring to the immortal Tao forces in the upcoming final battle? These two things caused the immortal Tao cultivators' morale to soar again. And the most important person in these two matters was Su Fong. Su Fong didn't hesitate to take risks and use himself as bait to lure the demon race's peak powerhouse. If he hadn't taken the demon race by surprise and seriously injured him, even the Heavenly Mandate sect master would have found it difficult to suppress him. No one could have imagined that Hizun, the Heavenly Mandate sect's Grand Elder, would have colluded with the demon race. If Su Fong hadn't personally exposed him, the consequences would have been unimaginable. As a result, Su Fong once again caused a great stir among the immortal Tao forces, and his reputation reached a new height. Not only ordinary cultivators, but even the immortal Tao's peerless powerhouses couldn't help but admire Su Fong. When Immortal Elder Tianji heard this, he immediately made a divination and summoned Mu Xing Feng. Su Fong possesses unparalleled fortune, and the key to the great war of immortals and demons lies with him. Go with him on this immortal Tao's secret mission and find a way to befriend him. At the same time, you'll win great fame for yourself. Mu Xing Feng was incredulous at Immortal Elder Tianji's words. Mu Xing Feng's spirits were roused. Secret mission? Master, you don't care about your disciples' safety anymore? The Heavenly Tao's fortune isn't on the immortal Tao's side. When a nest is overturned, how can any egg remain intact? Rather than that, I'd rather have you follow Su Fong and fight for the immortal Tao's slim chance of survival. Immortal Elder Tianji said faintly. == our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1623. Su Fong. In the camp of the Devil Army, inside the palace that was filled with dense devil aura, Chi Ao, the leader of the Devil Army, said through gritted teeth, his voice filled with anger and hatred. A peak powerhouse had died, along with more than 50 demon sovereigns and resurrected powerhouses. Even Sovereign Dong Yi had been hunted down and was still missing. How could demon sovereign Shi Ao not be enraged by such heavy losses? A long while later, suppressing his rage, demon sovereign Shi Ao issued an order: cancel the assassination attempt on Su Fang. None of the demons hiding among the immortal factions are to make any moves without permission. Also, postpone the decisive battle between the immortal factions to 3 years from now. After losing so many powerhouses all of a sudden, the demons had no choice but to postpone their plans and redeploy. All of this was because of Su Fang. It was easy to imagine just how much the demons hated Su Fang. The Lord of the Demon World even sent his will down again and personally asked about the matter, ordering the cancellation of the assassination attempt on Su Fang. Around half a year later, behind the demonic camp, chaotic currents surged violently in a zone of natural power on the outskirts of a world plane. A figure leapt out of it, the resurrected powerhouse of the Buddhist schools, Buddha Sovereign Dong Yi. He'd been hunted down by 3 peak Tao realm powerhouses and had only managed to shake them off after traversing several outer realms. He'd also sustained serious injuries. I can return to the demonic camp after I recover my strength. Gray light filled with evil flashed through Buddha Sovereign Dong Ye's hollow eyes as he looked at the distant world of immortals. He then made a beeline for it. Since the demons had invaded the immortal Tao world, they'd occupied countless worlds. After slaughtering immortal cultivators and commoners in a bloody and brutal manner, they'd turned their territories into demonic territories. Although there were almost no signs of immortal cultivators, commoners, or even the big goblin, life was still present in these worlds. Many demons had migrated there, and Buddha Sovereign Dong Yi was going to devour their life force to recover his strength. I can't believe there's a resurrected expert who's devouring the devils before me. Arriving in the skies above the world of immortals, Buddha Sovereign Dong Yi was surprised to find that the cities occupied by demons had turned into cities of the dead. Instead of demonic energy, the air was thick with death energy. In the capital of the world of immortals, a resurrected cultivator was unleashing the might of death, shrouding the city and devouring demon cultivators. A resurrected powerhouse of the Tao realm. He's not an ordinary resurrected powerhouse, Sovereign Dong Yi, Buddha Sovereign Dong Yi. Where did he come from? Buddha Sovereign Dong Yi was Buddha Sovereign Dong Yi, Buddha Sovereign Dong Yi, Buddha, and Buddha Sovereign Dong Yi. The dead that was the Lord of the Lord Death was Lord of Death, Lord. Under Su Fang's orders, he bypassed the battle line between the immortals and devils and arrived at the rear of the devil race's camp. He didn't go directly to the devil race's camp. Instead, he chose this immortal realm and wantonly devoured the devil race cultivators. The undead lord did this not only because he wanted to borrow the powerful vitality of the demon race to quickly recover his strength, but also because he hoped to use this method to attract the demon race or resurrected powerhouses and use this opportunity to enter the demon race's camp. This was the difference between the undead lords and other resurrected cultivators. The undead lords retained their thoughts and memories from when they were alive, so they possessed intelligence. On the other hand, other resurrected cultivators, demons, and Big Goblin only had the instinct to devour all life, except for a few top experts. After devouring a large number of cultivators, Big Goblin, and demons, they would also devour their consciousness. Therefore, the resurrected expert's consciousness was violent and chaotic and could not be compared to the undead lords. Just as Buddhist supremacy Dong Shui was about to summon the undead king for an interrogation, swish. Swish! More than a dozen demon race experts flew through the air. The leader of the group was a handsome young demon with blood-red flames burning in his eyes. It was none other than the demon race's holy son, Ming Yen. When the demon race received news that a resurrected expert was madly devouring the demon race, Ming Yin personally led a dozen demon race experts here. The blood-red flames in Ming Yan's eyes burned fiercely when he saw the scene in the immortal realm. He roared, "The demon race has long since signed an agreement with the resurrected expert. Both sides will not attack each other. Where did you come from, resurrected cultivator? How dare you openly devour demons in the demon realm? The life force of the devil race is so boundless. Just what I want, The undead king's evil and arrogant voice rang out from the royal city of the immortal world. Instead, he pushed his death aura to the extreme. The screams and wails of the devil race rose and fell one after another. It was unknown how many devils were devoured alive by him. No matter who you are, you have committed a capital offense for devouring the demon race's citizens. Not even the evil god can save you. The demon race was incomparably evil and cruel to begin with. They slaughtered immortal realm cultivators and civilians as if they were chickens. Seeing the demon race being devoured by a resurrected cultivator, who is several times more evil than the demon race, completely enraged Ming Yen and the other demon race experts. They charged toward the immortal realm's royal city. Suddenly, autarch cave demons in different voice rang out from the sky. Ming Yen, leave this matter to me. Retreat. Autarch cave demon? Ming Yen and the dozen or so demon race experts' expressions changed. Ming Yen came from all over the universe and had grown at an astonishing rate. Add to that the fact that the fifth evil sun had risen and the world had changed. He was now much stronger than he was during the Tao disciple competition. However, even if he unleashed all of his power, he'd only reached the peak of the Tao realm. The strongest demon race expert who'd come with him was at the same level as him. Autar Cave Demon was a peak existence among resurrected experts. Even Ming Yin and the other demon race experts would be crushed by him. Ming Yin said coldly, "Autar Cave Demon, this resurrected cultivator has devoured almost all the demons in the demon realm. Autar Chi Ao has personally ordered us to suppress him. Please don't interfere." "Who the hell is Chi Ao? Why does he have to order me around? Scram, or I won't care if you're a demon holy son or not. I'll devour you all the same." Autar Cave Demon unleashed a Buddhist light, imbued with dense death energy. It swept toward Ming Yin and the dozen or so demon race experts, sending them flying hundreds of kilometers away. A resurrected expert will be a great threat to the demon race sooner or later. Let's go. Ming Yin was a proud man, but he was nothing but a weakling. His humiliation turned into anger, but he had no choice but to leave the world of immortals with the other demon race experts and send their nascent spirits to the demon race's camp. "Come and see me. Otherwise, I'll suppress you and devour your death, Origin Chi." Autarch Cave Demon flew to the sky above Royal City and struck out with a finger seal, shattering the Lord of the Dead's death energy. Whoosh! The Lord of the Dead flew over, gray light swirling in his eyes. "You and I are both resurrected cultivators under the protection of the evil god. Why are you working with the demon race against me?" he asked darkly. "Demons, what are they?" Autarch Cave Demon said indifferently. "A bunch of ants no different from immortal cultivators. They'll become food for resurrected experts sooner or later. It seems you're a resurrected expert from another immortal realm. You're quite strong. Why don't you follow me and serve me? I'll help you surpass your current strength." The Lord of the Dead thought for a moment, then nodded in agreement. Autarch Cave Demon condensed a seal seed with his Buddhist light and inserted it into the Lord of the Dead's divine aperture. He then left the world of immortals with the Lord of the Dead and flew toward the demon race's camp. Just like that, the Lord of the Dead became one of Autar Cave Demon's subordinates and successfully infiltrated the demon race's camp. True Dragon Realm. A pool of blood 8,000 meters long roared and churned like the roar of an ocean. It was a shocking sight. After accepting the mission to launch a surprise attack on the demon race's rear, Su Fong took the opportunity to extort a large number of treasures from the immortal sections. They were all top treasures of the great world and spiritual items from other realms. As long as it was something Su Fong could use for his cultivation, he had it all. In the past 6 months, Su Fong had used the remaining time to digest these treasures. He devoured them madly in his blood form. Not only had his various abilities transformed, but his Acheron blood sea had also grown tremendously. It had grown to 8,000 meters in size, and its devouring ability and reincarnation power had become even stronger. It wasn't far from the Acheron Emperor's level in the past. It wasn't just the Acheron blood sea. His dragon-subduing true body, Black Lotus true body, and Fire Cloud Emperor body had also evolved to astonishing heights. After devouring a large amount of golden origin iron essence, his faceless golden dipper body was also infinitely close to maturity. Although there was still a long way to go before Su Fang's goal, Su Fang was pleasantly surprised to see such a huge transformation in just half a year. He was even more confident about the upcoming battle. Try my divine might of the world. With the help of the Bodhi Enlightenment incense's mystical powers, Su Fang entered a higher realm of world cultivation. Over the past few days, he had been constantly cultivating, coupled with the improvement of his various real bodies. Although there was still a huge gap between the realm of the Bodhi Enlightenment incense, he had improved greatly. Su Fang flew out of the true dragon realm, and his original body came to the palace. With the lesson learned from the destruction of the cultivation dojo last time, Su Fang didn't dare to test the power of the divine might of the world in the true dragon realm. Su Fang used the demon sealing emperor's heavenly seal to create layers of formations around him. He activated the heaven and earth Tao palace and channeled all of his genuine chi and energy into the tree of world through the yang meridian. In the next moment, the power of the yin-yang world swept out like a flash flood. The divine might of the world extended from his body to the outside. This time, Su Fang didn't dare to radiate the divine might of the world too widely. It only covered about 300 meters. Chi, chi, chi. In a world formed by Su Fang's power and laws, matter shattered. The natural energy and laws of heaven and earth disappeared and were replaced by Su Fang's world. At this moment, Su Fang felt that he had the power of the heavenly Tao. Within 300 meters, even high-level Tao realm cultivators couldn't use any magic. In the end, they could only be suppressed. Su Fang still couldn't suppress a top expert at the peak of the Tao realm. However, with the help of a Tao artifact or other magic, plus the help of Gui Gui and the Dragon Bird, it was hard to say. This was Su Fang's most powerful attack. == our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review.